everyone, to episode 148 of the Valcast podcast. I'm
Yo.
host Caleb Peng, joined by my sidekick, Anicor the clown. Mr. Coriander himself. Okay, so I need to ask you about this makeup. You were giving me crap about this, but I feel like your makeup, you could barely see it.
I mean,
It's
honestly,
a little white. Is it lighting?
yeah.
Or?
The thing is that like it is very white, yeah, but obviously it just so happens to be on the darker side. But
You should put
also,
on the lighter side next time. Switch it up.
yeah.
Well, no. Next week
I
you're
got
full
on
on.
the-
You're
the next
what's
time
next
will be
week?
everywhere,
Full
innit?
on is just full on white
Yeah,
with the
like,
nose,
some
right?
blue and like I think the nose comes last.
Let me take a look. Let me take a look at the progression
Yeah.
here.
It's a bit unfortunate. I'm not gonna lie because it's looking like a whole.
Well, no. So okay. So yeah, we can do the
Monster,
half face
yeah.
progression. So the next one, you have full face white with
the
like
eyes in it.
with the eyes, like the blue and
Yeah.
yellow, the blush on the cheeks, and the red lipstick.
Yeah. Do you know what, man? I'm not gonna lie in it. Yeah, like honestly, I don't even care about looking like a clown in it. Yeah, it's just the effort that's required, man. Like obviously
Hey,
this
man,
time it was
I
kind of
got
blessed
you.
because it was just like,
Dude, I
did
just
it
sit
with
in
my
a chair for
fingers.
like 3 hours getting my hair bleached. Okay, don't tell me about
Yeah,
effort.
yeah.
Don't talk to me about
Yeah,
effort.
true that,
I
true
did you a
that.
favor because you all don't know, but Anicor was asking if we could record tomorrow morning, instead of his evening. And looking back at it, I'm like,
Why was that a favor?
oh, do you really want to put on makeup and then have to wash it all? At least now you could just
Yeah, I
wash it
wouldn't
all
have
off
minded.
afterward. But
It's just
you
because I
don't
wanted
keep
to
the
go to
makeup
sleep
on all
earlier.
day.
No, you just wash it off, innit? Have a shower. Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
okay, you could hear me, right?
Yeah.
Because the audio on this thing there's no audio lines. Do you see any audio lines?
Yeah, I see loads. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Then it's just a visual on my end. Because if this thing
visual
is
lag,
just half audio, just Anicor talking, look, I get it, right? No one wants to hear just this one British man yammering all day. I'd scrap the episode too.
I think this was a special episode, you know.
Yeah.
Everyone
All right,
wants to
let's get into the YouTube comments for this week because there's a lot of
Mm.
stuff that happened this past week.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of discussions online.
Yeah.
Anyway, Chertondo says, "Can we get timestamps on the Spotify version too? Because I'd love to skip the breakpoint, bulk point section, half of the podcast. Thanks in advance." Yeah, I'll stop talking about breakpoints and bulk points the moment Anicor stops hunting these random breakpoint charger bug that he doesn't even know what he's looking for. But yes, I think it's very clear what our stances are on breakpoint, bulk point.
Yeah.
One person's on the right side of the issue. The other
There
is
won't be
just
any agreement.
hunting.
Is the
Like when you win worlds with a breakpoint charger bug,
then
I give it to you, right? I'll never argue that breakpoints and bulk points don't matter ever again. Michael St. James says, as requested by Caleb, I'm confirming that 11:59 GMT +1, the Dracovic site was up to date in terms of graphics for EUIC and Orlando, but couldn't find a complete list of players already qualified for Worlds that includes those who haven't won a regional or an international. Nonetheless, it's an A for effort for Anicor.
Yeah. Sorry, Michael St. James, because I still haven't done that yet. But you know what the thing is? You know what the thing is, though? I actually did do it. But basically the plugin I was using had some issues, so I had to get Adib to help me on that. So we're still working on that. Hopefully, I want to get it done before like this weekend, because also it's a quiet weekend as well, and it's like EUIC points just dropped onto the Play website as well, so it's like perfect time in it. So I do have the charts there; they're just not visible at the moment.
I was looking at the Dracoviz website, and I was looking at my profile. I don't know how you all can change this very easily because I know you're grabbing data from Arcanine. But is there a way to align the Pokemon to make it more aesthetic? Like, you know how you all do it for the Dracoviz graphics, right?
Yeah.
But for example, I'll show you mine real quick as an example.
Oh,
so
I see
it has,
what you mean. Yeah, no.
You understand, right?
Yeah,
like not all my Bastion are lined up in the same column.
I know what you mean, and I would love to do that as well, innit? But I think like
it just unless you
that's
manually do it, it's
because also
hard.
like when we line them up, we do them manually as well. And like if there was a set rule, then maybe it would be a bit easier that someone could code it in. But even
It's really
when we
hard
do it,
too,
there's no
though.
set rule.
Yeah, because there's
Yeah.
some people might have 2 steel types, some might
Yeah,
have
exactly.
0. Then
Yeah.
what do you put in the steel type, right?
We
The
just
steel
go
category.
vibes in it, yeah. So
But my
unfortunately,
stringer, my stringer,
yeah.
my stringer tournament is looking pretty nice though. Not
Yeah,
gonna
yes.
lie, not gonna lie.
Good, yeah.
I think a
You're
second
very
place for
consistent.
17.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I've made 4
Uh,
top cuts, 4 out of 5. I'm
yeah,
pretty.
that's not bad.
I'd say it's
Good.
pretty good.
Yeah.
3 out of 4 grand finals for regionals. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Well done.
no big deal. No big deal. Someone that doesn't care about breakpoints, points, can still make it in this world. Eight the Great says, "Damn, it's Thursday night PST, and I just checked Dracovision. The world's qualified people from CP is still
Just,
not there, and EUIC top cut placements
just
aren't in yet.
really getting them.
Also, EUIC not on the profiles yet.
Back.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, hey, look, you were the one that said it last episode, right? You
Yeah,
said, "Look,
I know,
call
I
me
know.
out if it
Yeah,
doesn't happen," and
yeah.
you can't
Yeah.
complain. You
Yeah,
asked
I
for
know.
this. If you
So
didn't
one
make that
good thing
promise,
about now when it comes to like, let's say for example like EUIC top car and then that link into profiles, yeah, it's now something that more than one of us on the team can do. So now you can actually hold me accountable because I can actually do it. So it's like after we record this, I'm going to be importing the Sao Paulo ones. Just did Orlando. So yeah, now more than one of us can do it. So hopefully it'll be a lot more efficient.
I get that more than one of you can do it. It's just
Yeah. So now more than one will do it. Well, the
Oh,
one wasn't me
okay.
before, innit? The one was someone else. So,
I'm just saying. I know you get that.
yeah.
Eighth grade also continues. Yeah, I agree on Olive Garden being ass. Funny enough, someone I dated in the past really liked that place, so I had to go multiple times. Oof. I am
Wait,
a
God.
self. Also continue on. I am a self-identifying weird IV Andy, but only really go for the wonky IVs if I can find clear advantages over the rank 1. Like the defense weighted Shadow Dragonair. A bulk point on Licky, one of the highest usage Pokemon, is huge. Taking 1 less damage from a 1-turn fast attack from the one of the most commonly brought Pokemon seems worth the slightly worse Zero Shield matchups. I guess I could be screaming more and improve my mechanics, but I have to grind dust anyway, so I'm just going to use mons I found. I almost never scrim outside of locals.
You
I
know
don't
what?
even know if
Ain't the
locals
great.
counts as scrims. That just
Yeah.
that's just a tournament. But I mean,
Ain't
hey,
the great,
I get you.
bruv.
I don't either.
Next time, let's bring you on to speak my point because he said it way better than I could.
Well, if locals is scrims, then he's be scrimming me all the time because we face off like every single local. Yeah,
I want,
but,
I want to think locals are scrims. I want that
yeah,
to
yeah,
be
yeah.
the next season. Be like, yeah.
Well, after I faced eighth grade in our local, that's when I realized, damn, my team is weak to Ferrothorn. I need to drop the lantern for Charger Bug for UIC. That's what I did. I don't know
Oh,
if it worked
really?
out or not. Yeah, because I had
So you
lantern instead
actually
of Charger Bug.
respected the thorn.
I think he brought it to EUIC as well. I believe. I mean, I didn't
Yeah.
face any Ferrothorn, but I'm just saying he brought it. And are you looking him up?
Yeah. Yeah. I want to see if he brought it. He didn't
Yeah, I
bring it.
think
He
he
didn't.
did.
Oh
Oh,
wait.
he did.
Yeah, he did. He did.
He did bring it, right? Yeah,
Yeah, he did bring it.
he did
And he
bring
dropped it in Orlando.
it. Probably because it's trash. But 2-1 against Motters, and then 2-0 against Bopper, and then lost to
Yeah,
Christix,
and
and
1-2s.
yeah,
1-2s.
1-2s
So I think he
against
was nearly
Christix
there,
and
to be honest.
EJB. So I mean, those
Yeah,
are not easy opponents either.
exactly.
2-0 and Bopper's not. It's a
Yeah.
strong feat too. I think. Let me take a look at his record. Now that I think about it.
I didn't realize he was even there.
He was, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He went against iMoon, Eighth Grade, Carl MCG, Abyssal Actor, and then he lost to Nessabethan in Eighth Grade. 1-2. Yeah. Nessabethan had a Dragalge? What is that team?
Yeah.
That team's wild.
Yeah. I can't lie. I was like, because he played the Dragalge in one of our locals, and I was nearly convinced, because it's like the biggest issue
It's too
is
slow, I feel like.
Whiscash. Yeah, but I mean the thing is that like the mons where it's like, okay, it doesn't necessarily need to like win head to heads, but rather
Do you
put
even
you in
beat
like
Polyrath?
advantageous positions. Probably, but I don't know. Also, like Polyrath usage was down, I think when he was
lost to
using it locals,
EJB with the
Whiscash.
Polyrath, so
Oh yeah, I guess it doesn't then.
yeah.
But the thing is, it's more like you can actually you got a lot of neutral play into a lot of the meta, and so like up energy, you can like take shields with outrage. I think it's decent. But yeah.
Okay. T. Wassell says Anicor keeps saying Hard Jeff needs to prove himself on an international stage, but he won the Latin America International Championships.
Yeah, you know what I mean, T. Wastel. Come on, man. I'm
What do you
talking
mean?
like,
Break it
and
down.
also, I mean, like outside of your continent in it, because I think metas are often like, I guess it depends where you are, but they're kind of continent based, right? Because it's like NA is is okay. So NA in Pokemon terms is US and Canada, and realistically, you're gonna have a lot of like the similar players. Europe, everyone just goes everywhere. Australia's Australia, and I
What do you
think
mean
Latam is
everyone
kind
goes
of the same.
everywhere? What does that mean? Everyone goes
Like
everywhere.
everyone just attends every regional in it, so it's like Europe is pretty much just like all of Europe.
What? I don't know. You're just saying words right now. I don't understand how's that was any
so
different than what you said about NA.
oh yeah, I guess
What
it's
you're just trying what you're trying to tell me in a very long, convoluted way, if I'm understand you correctly,
it's
is
metas a continent.
metas are
Yeah,
regional specific and that's
yeah,
it, right?
yeah.
You're trying to like talk about like these regions as if they're different in terms of how their like meta is. I mean,
Yeah,
obviously the metas are different, but like you make it seem I don't know what you're trying to say there, but
because it's because like I get like the Pokemon obviously calling them internationals because actually I think you get it more this season, yeah, but you'll probably get it way more next season, right? But in the other games, it's very common for players to attend internationals outside of
they
their
have
region,
travel
right?
wars, that's why.
Yeah. So it makes it even easier.
Yeah.
Whereas I think like LATAM compared to EUIC, I think there was a lot more foreign players at EUIC than there was at LAIC. Because again, LAIC being like early in the season, not as
It's hard to
much.
get to.
There's the other thing as well, I guess,
Very long flight.
because even far for like you lot as well, isn't it? But
Yeah,
I
it's very
think
far.
next season we'll see a lot more. So then at that, I think from next season you'll be able to be like, okay, cool. Internationals are like proper international stage because
Yeah, what you meant to say, what you're trying to say is you want to see Hard Jeff against cross regional opponents.
yeah.
Which Eighth Grade actually responded to it, said that was almost exclusively Latin players though. Only 2 NA players showed up compared to EYC that had NA, Latin, OC, and obviously EU presence. Yeah, but semantics, I guess. Tiwasa also says, yeah, the biggest reason I like Whiscash over Swampert is the more consistent damage into Lantern and against other waters like Azumarill, Polyrath, etc. With Swampert, it feels really bad if your Earthquake gets shielded. I think the Shadow Swampert right now is kind of clever, though, more reliable into Gligar, I believe, since the Hydro one-shots, whereas Scald doesn't even if both Whiscash and Gligar are shadows. And the swamp tends to be better in the lead in the head-to-head versus Whiscash, and Azuma and Wrath usage seem to be down compared to early last season, so those matchups aren't quite as important. Swampert definitely better into Annihilate with shields up too. But actually, I don't think the Hydro Cannon one-shots, now that I think about it, though.
Yeah, I think
I've
it doesn't.
definitely seen that play out before, and I was like,
Yeah.
wait. I was really shocked at how little it did to the... Let's see. No, it does one-shot.
Oh, is it one shot? Okay, cool.
It does one shot.
it's,
Maybe it's a non-shadow glide.
yeah.
Oh no, sorry. I put Gliscor. That's why.
Oh,
I was wondering. I was like, I'm pretty sure I haven't seen it. No, it still does one shot.
maybe it's like a
the
non-shadow
non-shadow.
Swampert doesn't one shot.
Well, yeah, that would make sense that the non-shadow doesn't one shot. No, sorry, the non-shadow Gligar doesn't get one shot. Maybe if you have better. Okay, let me check the IVs on this. See, that breakpoint stuff is hurting you all. A high rank Gligar, it doesn't get one shot. It survives with 2 HP. Yeah, survives 2 HP to get aerial ace.
2 HP is flipping mud shot damage anyway.
I get you, but it could be the difference of getting an aerial ace off that might be crucial.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying.
How did you get even to that aerial ace without taking any damage? I don't know.
What do you mean?
How did your Gligar get an aerial ace if it didn't take more than 2 HP worth of damage? residual.
No. I mean, it's 2 HP plus the mud shot damage.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah. So it I mean, it does only 91% without the mud shot
Okay.
damage. So look, don't tell me, man. I beat Avinov in a Gligar mirror when I was behind on energy and I was down a shield because my IVs are better. All right, don't tell me it doesn't matter. I survived with 1 HP to get that off. um.
Anyway.
Okay. Anyway, uh, DH Khan says I don't really want to be constantly raiding through the live events. I fear the Necrozma raids mean that optimal play is sitting in a cafe while remote raiding. If they're not open Master League must haves, I would be relieved, but Cosmic Shining would be too enticing. I agree with that take too. I hate like how sometimes these live events you just need to just do a bunch of you're just not moving, you're just doing a bunch of raids the whole time.
Yeah, but I think like isn't it designed so it's like again I don't really play like this in it, but like obviously they lift the remote raid cap. Isn't it like the whole goal is like you play during the day and then in the evening you do all the remote raids?
Uh, well, I don't know if they're going to lift the remote raid cap for Go Fest.
But like
Was that a thing
assuming
for
they
Go
do lift the
Fest?
remote raid, usually they lift the remote raid cap over the weekend, like when it's those significant
There
weeks.
should just not be a cap. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I know we
yeah,
said before. There should
yeah,
just
yeah.
not be a cap.
But
I think
yeah, I feel like that's
what's happened differently in the past like year or so
oh,
is that the old Go Fest events and tours and stuff. I believe there wasn't a lot of raids. You're mostly focused on catching and doing quests and doing all the other stuff. But then they recently, it was maybe like Chicago or like a year after that, they started testing raids during these events,
right.
and then now they started adding a bunch of raids for these tours for Go Fest, all this stuff, which it does add another element. No one's telling you have to raid, but
Mhm.
I think it's hit or miss. I don't think it's a bad thing, but
I've actually enjoyed all the raids on the recent ones, but that's also because like I felt like a lot of the spawns I already had anyway.
yeah.
And then it's also like during the day, it was like what I said. Like if I think back to the Go Tour Sinnoh, I spent the day in a group. We were like chasing raids while doing stuff while we were walking to raids. But then there didn't really feel like there was much things to catch. So, like worth catching because I guess we.
That's true. I feel like besides a few exclusive shiny Pikachu, there isn't as much.
Yeah, and you can always check those as you're walking as well.
Yeah. Justin Kimbu says, you guys were on point with the tea topic this week. In a vacuum, working on cosmetic improvements is a very good thing, but it's exactly like spending all your go time on finding charge bug breakpoints instead of putting in scrim time.
Hello, you guys.
I love it. See? You become the butt of the joke, per usual. The powers that be at Niantic seem to have very little grasp on what players actually enjoy about the game, and more importantly, the problems that need to be addressed to make the game more playable and more fun. So they spend much of their time, energy / promotion on changes that make very little difference to the majority of the player base. What would make a difference? Listen to your partner creators. Listen to what your players actually want. A quick example, my rating experience is a lot more enjoyable since the addition of the heal all button and ready button in party play allows us to duo / trio almost any raid boss. These are big improvements, and I've been raiding more in person. Some of these are changes players have wanted since the beginning, but really received almost no publicity and took a long time to implement. Party play did, but the raid component, which is the only reason to party up at all, in my opinion, didn't. Spending more time on things like this that actually matter and less time on the cosmetic stuff. In other words, spend less time hunting for charge bug IV spreads, Niantic, and more time on learning your matchups. Sorry for a long comment. Keep up the great work, guys. I appreciate it, Justin. Great, fantastic analogy, fantastic take as well. I don't think a lot of people take advantage of the party feature to do more damage in raids. Me
Yeah,
personally, I
agreed.
forget about it all the time.
I
But
keep
I do
forgetting as
think,
well. I'm still
but I
stuck on that little.
the quest.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
have a bunch. I haven't finished a party quest either.
Yeah.
I think the party feature is something I feel like similar to when mega raids and mega Pokemon were first released. They were kind of useless. They didn't really do much. And then they're probably slowly adding more stuff. But I think they definitely need to rework it to incentivize the party feature. Also, the thing with the party feature is, why not drop better rewards? Who cares about 900 Stardust or like
Was that what you
3
get?
Raspberry? Yeah, when you complete some of the sections, or you get a few Pokeball. You sometimes get a Pokemon counter, which is like a Snorlax or Lapras or something. But like that's it for doing a bunch of stuff as a party.
Yeah.
Imagine if you get rare XL candies. On the off chance you might get Elite TM.
Yeah. Well,
Even
I guess like
charge TM is fine. Get 2
any
or
of the
3 charge
rewards
TM.
that they've been dropping in routes would be quite sick in the party, I guess.
I
Because
haven't
the
done enough routes to
route
know,
rewards
but
are sick.
yeah.
Like even though they might be rare, like some of them are really good.
Yeah. But I think that would incentivize party play more. It's just, I get in Niantic's mind they have like some type of in-game economy they have to manage, but this economy is all made up. Like I don't know how many times to say this. It's not a real economy. If you dish out a few extra elite charge TMs, what's going to happen? Right? Like like what is really going to happen? One person buys one less community box with an elite charge TM. This is a economy that you all created. You could literally create different things to stimulate your own economy. Again, a lot of these games, these competitive games, they make money from skins. You do a freaking Charizard skin for your PvP Pokemon, boom, instant money. Instant money. You talk about cosmetics, people would love that, right? I mean, people flex like the hat Noctowl, yeah, and all this random stuff and shiny stuff for PvP. You don't think people go crazy over exclusive skin you have to pay money to buy? On top of that, you do a different way where you gift the skin to someone else. I'm like, hey, I want to give my buddy Anicor a Charger Bug skin, right? For his terrible spread Charger Bug, so everyone will know. So everyone will know which Charger Bug he's using and why it's bad. But then you could do it so that if people don't want to buy a skin, they could gift it. Easy money. If you're worried about your own like revenue and stuff, and because this in-game economy, there are so many ways to stimulate that for you all to do that. Will take a little bit coding effort, but like skins for your Pokemon is such a cool idea. I mean, they do it for Pokemon Unite. People do, that's how they make their money for the most part. Not a lot of people buying the
gifting
Pokemon
stuff would generate more money than actually buying stuff? Because I think that's a good point. I think
just
people
have the
like
option
like
of
gift
both.
stuff,
Yeah.
innit,
Just have the option for both.
Yeah.
Something really cool is, I heard that they used to do this for League of Legends before, but they don't do it anymore for a reason. You used to be able to gift people a skin after like a game. So imagine if you I doubt people do this, but imagine if you PvP someone and you say, dang, they played well. I'm going to gift you a Registeel skin.
And nobody gifted.
Yeah, no, probably not. But I think it would be cool to have that option, right? I think it'd be cool to have that option.
You're gonna get people gifting them like.
Honestly, I don't think it would be the most popular feature, but I wouldn't be surprised if some people, some nice people will really do that.
Yeah,
I think.
it's true.
Like,
yeah,
dang, well played.
Yeah,
You deserve a skin for that one.
Yeah.
Right? Not a lot of people will do that, but I think that might be a potential. But you could also do it after you scrim team with friends, right? Friendly battles. You could do that easy. Right? Would you like to gift a skin? You could literally have the option toggle on and off. So if you don't want the option, you don't have to do it. But like, it's just the in-game economy thing just still like irks me because the boxes used to be so much better, and they just water them down completely because they're like, we can't give away too many raid passes in one box. Oh, people will stop raiding now. And then all of a sudden they killed remote raiding, and they're trying to stop people from raiding themselves. I don't know what they're worried about. But anyway, that's my thoughts on that. We'll talk more about Pokemon Go and maybe accessibility concerns in a little bit. But anyway, that's for YouTube comments. We had a regional this weekend.
Yeah.
Sao Paulo.
Yeah, and last Brazilian regional of the season.
Yeah. Last one. Oh, I like what you all did with the graphic. 2024 Championship Series.
Yeah. I changed them all. Yeah.
Is that tilde over the A, or what is that? It just looks like a straight line. Why does it not look very squiggly?
Oh, did I make a mistake there? No, it's squiggly.
It's a little squiggly. It's just not very squiggly.
Yeah, you zoom in and you'll see it's more squiggly.
Winners finals, grand finals. Okay. Oh, the X as well.
That was a
Well done.
that was a BJ forced change.
Why does it even need to be forced?
I don't know. There was some beef.
There's some beef. What are they pushing back on? I told this to Polly in a separate message. I'd be like, I said, I was like, Polly's acting like if Dracovis keeps the Twitter bird, somehow Elon Musk can retire from Twitter, just resign as CEO. Like, what?
Oh man. Yeah, it
I
was
don't care if you like the guy or not. It's just whatever you're doing is not doing anything.
yeah,
It's
it's
just
true.
using an outdated logo. But
Yeah, but yeah, honestly, okay, one thing that I'm like I'd say slightly disappointed about, but last year São Paulo was like 200, it was like over 200 players, right? But I think they capped this year at 128. I don't know if they capped actually, because the registration was open a bit late, so maybe they didn't cap. And actually, they did have a few like manual buys, so I think less people just attended.
let me
I
look it
guess
up.
maybe this is the result of just like the championship point system in certain regions. Do you know what I mean? Where it's like, I guess last year it was like, well, you know, every single person was like, oh, I still need to qualify, right? Whereas now this year, like,
A lot of people have qualified.
a lot of people have already qualified in it. So maybe, I guess that's it. But still, like, just short of 128 players. So that was really great. And Kanan, man. Murking it. Okay. First of all,
I watched some of his games too. It was pretty impressive.
yeah. Do you know what? One thing I'm very happy for Kanan, because like the whole season he's been like working quite hard. And he's just also been progressing a lot across the season as well. And you can tell like,
Wait, I'm so confused. Why was there a best of 5 in the semifinals?
Oh
I'm
no, they
looking at the
called it
challenge.
semifinal, but that's the winners finals.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I
they've
got
just
you.
named
I
it
got you.
wrong. But yeah, so Kanan with Shadow Magnazone. So obviously, the same pick that Paula took to 4th place in EYC.
Mm-hmm.
Brav, honestly, Shadow Magnazone kind of wild, Kind of wild.
It's not easy to use. It's so hard to use.
Yeah,
In
but
my
it puts a
opinion,
lot of pressure,
it does. But again, you bring that to Bologna and you see how well it does. I
Yeah,
think if
I
you're
don't
doing the
personally
right
want to bring it.
situation,
Huh?
it's so risky though. I feel like
But I mean, is it like, look, if you
it'll
haven't
never
got,
work in NA. That's for sure. There's way too
yeah,
like people love their wish cash double ground teams
yeah,
here.
I think it's not even the double ground. It's just the Whiskash, really, because honestly, the Whiskash is the only.
Well,
It's
it's
the
double
only
ground plus a
thing.
counter. It's just like there's the teams are too hostile here.
Yeah, but even like, I think it's just the Whiskash, right? Because with everything else, you can threaten with a wild charge. So even if you're not, catching it on the lead or anything like that, then you're farming down and throwing a wild charge sort of thing. I think really and truly, the Whiskash is the only thing that's eating a wild charge, and not really worrying about it as much. Whereas
Clodsire.
everything else, yeah, Clodsire as well, yeah. Everything
Clodsire is
else,
just
I
gonna
feel like
laugh at
just
that,
doesn't.
but yeah.
Sorry.
As a Clodsire would just laugh at the wild charge, but
Yeah, literally. Everything else, though, I feel like doesn't really want to eat a wild child, regardless how bulky it is, or even like Gligar resisting it. Still doesn't necessarily want to eat a wild child. But okay, some things that stood out to me was 3. Okay, well, one thing in particular that stood out to me. So 3 Chileans made Top Cut. And Spudoid, yeah. Oh my days. She was absolutely duppying every single one of them, yeah. Bro, you know what was mad in it, yeah? Because I was like on my way back to London from Seoul. I was on a bus and I was like
yeah.
watching the whole thing. And every like it I don't know. Okay, she takes ages to lock in, yeah. But whatever she's thinking about works because she pulled every single lead perfectly.
That's
Perfectly
wild.
insane. The only time she didn't, yeah, or like, at least the only
She's
time
only
I
competed
noticed that
once
she didn't.
before this, last year, Sao Paulo.
Last year, Sao Paulo, yeah, and she made Top Cut
I'm surprised she didn't go to
again
LAIC
as well.
because they're in the same city for both years.
That's also true. Yeah, I don't know why. Yeah.
Yeah, 13th last year.
Yeah, but the only player that she didn't manage to pull that against. By the way, she knocked out every single one of the Chileans,
I know. I
um,
saw that bracket. Kind of wild.
which is quite funny. But yeah, against Steiner, that was the only player that she didn't manage to do that. And you know what? Honestly, I'm I can't say I'm surprised. Like, obviously, I don't know what's going on in her head when she's picking these lines. Yeah, but I think Steiner getting to a grand finals, after winning the last event, being in the grand finals last year, I feel like Steiner is possibly also in contention for one of the best players in Latam. And you know, I'm not surprised that she can't pull the wool over him. Do you know what I mean? And but those matches were sick. I
Hmm.
really thought that she would do it, but honestly, he's such a good player in it. So um, yeah, he managed to pull it through and make the finals. But congrats to her, because honestly, her gameplay was sick. She was making Skeledirge look just as good
And
as
Miwido.
Emmy Weedle did. Yeah.
That's right. These teams are
Um,
kind of funky too. A lot of Cresselia, a lot of decent amount of Altaria too. I guess no, just Altaria just in the grand finals mostly.
yeah, the thing
Um,
is, Altaria and Cresselia, I think, are not really so. Like, obviously, I've been, inputting these teams and like ordering them and stuff like that. Yeah. So usually, the second slot has traditionally been the Lickitung slot. And recently, I've been replacing it with Cresselia because Cresselia is now filling that kind of role where it's like bulky, neutral in a lot of matchups. Um, uh,
it's better into
y-
voice cache too.
yeah, you know what I mean. Innit? So it's like the rising Cresselia has actually been a thing for I think the past few events, to be honest. And Altaria, I think a similar sort of situation. Altaria seems like very neutral into a lot of things. Like you don't get much Azu these days, right?
Yep,
And so
that's a
if you
good
look
call.
at most
Even
standard teams,
Skarmory, it's not like that bad, and that's usually
exactly.
what
So
most people's check is.
yeah, Skarmory, not even that bad. Like it's almost like a perfect ABB where if you want to draw Skarmory out, yeah, you can throw in your Altaria and you'll get it like, really nicely
You could
low.
even run an ABA week to
Exactly.
Skarmory
Yeah.
because if you just lead in Skarmory, just stay in and just
Yeah, yeah.
sack
And
it,
if
and
and
then
if you
your
don't get a
Cresselia is
Skarmory,
free.
honestly, you can win most other matchups on, if you look at a lot of these teams, you can win those matchups if you really want to.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think Altaria usage is, not surprisingly large. What one team I really, really like?
What?
I like the Steinar Harjev team. The Shadow Sableye. I know people have been using Shadow Sableye last couple events. I can't exactly remember the teams they were using. Maybe it is just the same team. I'm gonna go back and look at
Well,
Orlando.
there was the one with Lyle had Shadow Polyrath or non-Shadow. I don't know. There's a
Right.
Polyrath on it, but
I like the Vigoroth. I like the Vigoroth. I feel like that team, it kind of like it puts off the opposing Annihilate, and I think whenever you put off the opposing Annihilate effectively, then
it's
Vigoroth
not
is
like
just the
that
best
bad
team
into
on.
it. You really just want to avoid the Altaria and Sable. Everything else you're not too bad into.
Yeah, but do you know what it is? It's more like you're not too bad into, yeah. But I think it's like if you're looking at your team, it may feel. Do you know what? Actually, I'll tell you this. Kanan was doing this in the final, and I'm gonna say late in the day that maybe it wasn't the best decision, but he was bringing his Annihilate into a lot of the matches. And honestly, it didn't have that many targets because Steinar was always bringing the Sableye, he was always bringing the Altaria, he was bringing the Crest at times. And it's like, even if you've got it on the Skarmory and Lantern, like, yeah, those are more neutral matchups, but they're still like, you're not getting the most value out of your Annihilate. Do you know what I mean? Innit?
Hmm.
But he was bringing it because he was like, well, I kind of need to prevent that Vigoroth from coming. And I think it took him a few matches to realize that Vigoroth's never coming. So it just wasn't necessary.
Yeah.
Um, but I think, that team kind of makes you make that decision where you're like, well, yeah, I could bring my Annihilate, but it's probably safer for me to take a more neutral check to the Vigoroth, and just not get locked into like just some of these negative to neutral matchups. That was my take.
I don't love Vigoroth. I'd like fiddle around with it. It might be because I have Bastion. I can't be too weak to fighters,
Probably,
but
yeah.
I just don't like using it much. I tried it in Jungle Cup a little bit and just wasn't really hitting it for me.
I don't
I've
know,
been
man.
messing around with Shadow Sableye in GBL though. It's been
Yeah.
pretty fun.
Shadow Sableye is cool. I like
Yeah,
Shadow
the
Sableye.
thing that usually takes me out is like Basty because I just get like the fast attack damage is too much, but you don't really run that into that in tournaments. So
there's a GBL difference in it.
Hey, Copper Kid though, top 8 with a Bastion, kind of nuts.
Yeah, and I think he had to play Loco Ferraz in the like losers finals, so it was a Bastion mirror match. Neither person actually bought the Bastion in that match, funnily enough.
Yeah. Hey, respect. A few Clotsire as well.
Yeah,
but
I think Clotsire is decent. It's got like. I think it's decent, especially with like a lot of the Cresselias moving to Moonblast.
mm-hmm.
Main count is really that Whiscash. Everything else you've got like neutral play into.
Yeah.
So
you think I don't know, it's weird because you had LAIC so early on, so a lot of people qualify for Worlds to that. You think the points are like just championship points are too low? Especially with locals. For LATAM,
I
right?
think because they have had locals since I
you
think the
could
beginning
just
of the
qualify
year.
straight off of just locals.
Yeah. I know Memi's qualified straight off locals. He nearly maxed out his point thingy, which is kind of cool. But I think, I think we've had this discussion already, and I hope that there is some rework to the championship, and I think there should be actually to the championship point system for next season. Do I really want the bar to be higher? Maybe not, because it makes it a bit more of like it makes it feel like more of a money grab. But I really do think that some element of having to get points from one event alongside all the locals, I think something like that kind of some way of like integrating the event and the locals in it, so it just doesn't feel like, I can get all my points from locals. I don't know. There's probably a good way to do it. The only issue is I feel like maybe our perspective of a good way to do it doesn't necessarily line up with the Pokemon company's perspective, because again, I think their goal is just they want as many people at events as possible, and they also want as many people at Worlds as possible. So
this is like slightly unrelated, but I don't get some people that say, because we have the championship points from UIC updated recently, right? And they, and so a lot of Europeans are like, oh, I pretty much have the travel word on lock, right? Status hand already broken 1,000, so he's good to go. And then some other Europeans and players are just like, I can't go to Hawaii, unfortunately, because I didn't get a travel word. But they like qualified through points earlier, and they're still going to all these events.
Bruv.
Why? What? I don't understand the logic. Why is spending all this money?
In particular, yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, I don't want to say it's just like one particular player, but it's happened. But I just don't understand what's the logic there. I like financially, I don't understand. If you knew that it's going to be in Hawaii, maybe you don't have the dates, but it's going to be in Hawaii.
Yeah.
And it's going to be expensive. Why travel to all these other tournaments trying to chase a travel award when you've already qualified prior, and you could just save up the money and just actually compete at Worlds?
Do you know what I think? Like in just general life, when sometimes you question people's financial decisions, when you're like, well, you're not in the best financial position. Why did you make that financial decision in it? Yeah. I think it's just that, man, like
just
some people when it comes to
financial
financials just
planning.
aren't that smart. And I guess their priorities also aren't maybe their priorities were straight. Maybe they did just want to go to all the other events as opposed to the Worlds. But I don't know, for the ones that just did want to go to Worlds, then your priorities obviously weren't that straight. As soon as you qualified, you should just been saving up. I'm more sympathetic to the people who qualify late on in the season, because obviously you have to make that decision with a very short amount of time. But I think if you're qualifying at the beginning of the season, you have 3/4 of an entire year to save up for a trip to Hawaii. Yeah, ain't no excuses, man. I'm not
Well,
gonna
okay,
lie.
I'm
Unless
not
you
even
got
trying.
kids, you got kids and a family to support. Cool. Yeah, if you ain't got that, yeah, ain't no excuses,
Well,
man.
I'm not even saying like if you couldn't save up enough in 3/4 of a year, but
Yeah, it's worse than not even
I'm
saving
saying
up.
more so
It's actually spending
like
the
some of
money.
these people have elected to travel to other
Yeah,
events after
yeah,
qualifying when they could just save that travel money, right? You don't save any additional. It's
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's cheap to travel in some places, but
Priorities, isn't it? Priorities are obviously a bit out of whack, but hey, that's a them problem, you know. That's very much a them problem.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, just also if you go to Worlds, like if you go to Worlds, you pick up your swag and stuff. You could
yeah,
resell that and cover
almost
most of
pays
your
for
Worlds
itself.
calls. Yeah, in
Yeah,
itself, you do well in Worlds, you get more money
pays
on
for
top of
itself.
that. Like you're missing out
Uh,
on a easy like a cash prize just for showing up.
Priorities, isn't it? You know,
Priorities.
priorities not straight.
Anyway, that's Sao Paulo for us. So
Hmm. We did have 2 other events this weekend. I put it underneath this rediscover thing because I pressed enter and then it just disappeared, and I was like, oh, I don't know
what
what happened
rediscover
there.
thing?
Like on the notes. It's irrelevant. It's
Okay.
irrelevant. Don't
Yes, yes,
worry.
yes.
Okay, so the first thing we had was the Thailand playoffs. Now, we saw the so like I said, I did actually post loads of graphics last week. So if you guys, don't know what's going on in Asia, yeah, that means you're a fake fan and you haven't been following the content. Yeah. So
Maybe they're just checking too hard on Twitter instead of X.
yeah, maybe. Well, it redirects, so yeah,
Yeah.
you
No,
got no
I'm just kidding.
excuse.
I'm just kidding. All right, go ahead.
So yeah, we had the Thailand playoffs. The initial Thailand qualifiers happened at the beginning of the month, and 16 players qualified to the playoffs. Now, thing with the Thailand playoffs, and I think I've said this before, is that it's usually the smallest of all the APAC tournaments,
Top
and
two go qualify for Worlds.
top 2 go, yeah. And
One does
personally,
one
I
get
feel
travel
like
award?
yeah, one gets travel award, yeah. So
Mm.
I feel like it should be combined into the APAC one, because honestly, I think there's even like more players from Hong Kong than there are players from Thailand in it, but is what it is. Now, generally, there are some good players in Thailand. I think generally the eyes are always on Teddy Ness and BJ Power. Last year's Thailand qualifier, it was BJ Power who won and Teddy Ness who came second as well. Um, and this year it was a similar story. I had my eye on like 1 or 2 other people to get a bit further than they did. So like Double Hippo. These are like some players who I've seen play in our APC format. And I'm like, personally, from my perspective, I feel like if you can perform in that format, you can perform in this format as well, because they're similar formats. Sometimes the skill level is quite high if you're playing in, like one of the higher divisions. However, BJ had to meet Teddy in the semi-finals and got knocked down to the losers bracket. Yeah, I ain't gonna say I wasn't scared. Yeah, because
Were you watching this
I
live?
I was just watching the bracket live. Yeah,
Yeah. Where is the
um,
bracket even at?
it's on. So if you go onto the website, you see on where it says bracket and stream. I should
ESL.
click off stream. Yeah, no. So go down where it says qualify and playoff. You click on playoff, and it will take you
Oh,
to the
I
bracket.
see. I see.
So it was a double elimination. They don't do any best of fives, just generally. So
Okay.
they do a bracket reset, but they just don't do any best
That
of
makes
five.
it better for grand finals at least, because
Yeah,
that's a
it's
pain.
true.
But he got 2
Um,
0'd as well by Teddy the first round.
yeah. I was scared. I'm not gonna lie, yeah, because I was just like, look, as long as Teddy and BJ like qualify, I was like, I'm content at this point. I don't know some of the other players in it, so I don't know. Maybe they deserve it, but I just, obviously BJ is a friend, and I know Teddy's a very good player. But it was a BJ Teddy final again, and if you look at that, yeah, BJ won 2-1 in the first grand final, reset the bracket, and then won 2-0. So, insane performance. Yeah. Well done to
No
both of them.
fighters, no counter users on BJC. I'm kind of wild.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I thought you would have. Oh, but I guess he said he chat to Adib about his team. Because usually he just gets his team off you, like some of the some of the
see,
other teams he's been using. Yeah,
I haven't been scrimming lately, so that might be why.
yeah,
I think he was
maybe,
asking for
maybe.
scrims in group chat, but I didn't really.
Fair enough.
I
Fair
haven't
enough.
battled
Yeah,
in a while, so
yeah. It's interesting, but you know what? Skeledirge, like I guess it kind of does fill a lot of the roles that the fighters need to fill as well. So I see that. I see that. You know.
there's a Sun
Um,
Goku on this. It reminds me
yeah,
of Sun Goku. I was like,
yeah,
huh?
my cousin. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Um, but yeah, so the first two Asian players to, as in like the first two players who are classed under the uh, TPC region, let's say, to qualify for Worlds. So that is the start. Um, and then on that same day we had the APAC qualifiers. So that was like, the initial Swiss stage. And this was players from Hong Kong, Malaysia, Singapore, and Philippines. Now,
okay.
I don't know Wagwan with Vietnam. I feel like they're kind of left out, and I don't know why.
Do you have a link
I
to
mean,
this?
yeah. So that's also
Oh,
did I
sorry. I
mention?
see. I see. You
Yeah,
posted like super far underneath.
yeah. Yeah. So I don't know why Vietnam are. I understand why China, because like you can't play Pokemon Go in China, so that's why you get Hong Kong and Taiwan, right? I don't know why Vietnam don't get in this thingy. Pakistan as well, to be honest, but whatever.
What is that? What is Ling? There's
Oh
no
yeah,
country logo.
we couldn't reach out to them at all to find out where they're from. Like they wouldn't
Ah,
respond to like I DM them. I got one of their opponents to DM them. They just apparently even like when they were battling, they weren't opening DMs. They were just doing it like from the
wait. So I don't
Twitch
understand.
group.
Why does Shinlena go to Perth
Earth.
if they're in APAC? Because they can't even qualify through Perth, right? What was the point of going to Perth?
Yeah, so I mean, you can still get money through Perth.
Oh,
Yeah.
did they
I
get
think this
money?
is why some of the because like there was some other players who took part in some of the Asian. Okay, so first of all, you got like BJ taking part in American tournaments. Yeah, similar situation. He can't qualify in America, but you can still get money. Um, and then
Yeah, if he just
also,
didn't pause with his Altaria, he would have been
yeah,
fine.
literally. And then there was also Singaporean who's changed their name again, but competed in Melbourne and similar situation. Like they couldn't think, but I think they even did get some money, but I'm not sure. Maybe they didn't, but. Um, but Shinlena, honestly, very happy he entered because initially he thought that it was his friend's wedding, and it turns out his friend's wedding was the day before. So happy
Mm.
days. And I think like Shinlena is one of the strongest. They're definitely I'd say the strongest Malaysian player right now, just from what I've seen. And I think just one of the strongest players, in the APAC region. So I think
How they
it's good
place
that.
in Perth again?
I think only like top 16 or something like that. So
Top 16 out of 27?
yeah. Well, I'm thinking like it wasn't top 8, so I imagine yeah. Let's see, Shinlena. Uh
I need
okay.
to see
Well,
some more results
I
here.
need to import the Perth data. It looks like. Anyway, yeah,
Well, something for next episode, I guess.
yeah. I'll do that. But yeah. Really happy to see Shinlena play. Yekai, who I'm hoping this is a sign that he's going to try and compete in Worlds. He said initially that he wasn't going to because of like like he's applying for universities and stuff like that. But maybe he's changed his mind because honestly, I feel like he's another player where it's like it's a loss to the World Championships if he doesn't let himself try and compete. He's like an absolutely insane player.
Hmm.
Um, a lot of other familiar names on here. You got Kai Feng, who qualified last year in this same tournament. XR Voz, who's living in Canada, and I think he's a player on DD Alberta form. He actually also competed in a load of US tournaments as well. Well, I think maybe just the Canadian
Wait,
one.
which person?
XR Voz.
Oh,
Yeah.
I remember them from last year.
Yeah, because he won last year.
Yeah, that's why I remember.
Yeah, but yeah. So the playoffs are going to be, so there's 16 players now. Unfortunately, there's also only 2 qualifiers for APAC as well. Last year there was 4. They've taken it down to 2. Hopefully this is something that can be like fixed next year, because bruv, honestly, the number of APAC players who are even able to go, like qualification slot wise, is already going to be way lower than every other region in it. So this doesn't really help. And then also, then you have to ask how many of the players can actually go when they qualify so late on into the season,
Yeah.
and maybe they don't get the travel award. So yeah,
Hmm.
bit of a shame. But yeah, the playoffs will be 12th of May. And again, if you guys are following the Twitter, I'll be posting about it. Like, for example, this weekend there's no regionals, but there is the India playoffs and the South Korean, one of the first South Korean qualifiers. So, um, you know, nothing video wise, but speaking of video wise, also obviously we did the coverage of like a lot of these tournaments last year. Going to look at potentially doing it this year as well, just ironing out a few things before
Okay.
we commit to it. So hopefully we can do that as well.
Could be some good content before Worlds too, because it's
Yeah,
like kind
man,
of a
definitely,
time
because
period
you don't
before.
see these guys, so
Yeah.
I think it'd be good to see them.
Drop me some vids.
Yeah, man.
Okay. Well, whoa, my screen is like flickering like wild here. I don't know if you could tell my face or not from the lighting,
Yeah,
but
sometimes you
yeah.
look like the clown yourself.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Well, you're
Looking
the
like
expert
half
in
clown
that,
mode.
so yeah, I get it. Okay. We have some of really just one event coming up. It's the rediscovered Kanto. We talked about it briefly. Starts on the 22nd, which means it's already live. I didn't even notice it. And goes until the 9th.
Yeah,
A
it's quite a
bunch of
long one.
different
It's like a good
biome
couple weeks.
stuff. Yeah.
Mm.
Increase XP for 7 days. Stop, spin, and catch streak. Nothing crazy. Friendship levels are increased faster than normal through opening gifts. I assume just from you jump up by 2. Every
Yeah,
friendship
that's
interaction
true.
essentially goes up by 2, I think. Increased chance to encounter shiny Bulbasaur, shiny Charmander, or shiny Squirtle in their respective biomes. I haven't what biomes are these in? I haven't even seen any.
Yeah, well, you have to leave your house to to do that.
What do you mean?
And
Why are you
sitting in
acting?
his single biome.
What do you mean? What do you know what I do, Anicor? Why are you acting like I'm just sitting here not moving? What do you think? Of course I'm moving around. Venusaur, Charizard, and Blastoise all get their signature move. That is pretty nice, though.
Yeah, that's
When
sick.
involved during the event.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I have any I need to evolve. Maybe I think I might have some Charmander I need to evolve for something.
Well, one thing that might be okay, I don't know if it's relevant, but like obviously there was, for anyone playing Battle Frontier, they recently announced that next season megas would be allowed in Great League and Ultra League, right? So it's not necessary that the megas are going to be
that.
relevant or anything like that, but now is a good opportunity to get like the Charizards and the
Yeah.
Venusaurs and the Blastoise for
How
the
you
Great
how are
League.
you feeling about in real talk? How you feeling about Battle Frontier these days? Does it hit the same way as factions used to?
Nah, man,
Why is
doesn't.
that? I was wondering that too myself, but I was just trying to figure out why. And this is no hate on Battle Frontier staff because they're
Yeah,
working real hard around the clock for
there's,
free.
in my opinion, it's one of two things, right? Now, it could very well be the case that the reason it's not hitting at the moment is because we're still in like qualifier stage. So people, like, nobody's tiered yet. So we don't know the like full extent of the competition just yet. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that possibility. And obviously like the qualifying stage has been dragging on for a bit, and we've just sort of been going about it. Actually, I'm going to put 3 things. Yeah. So that's one potential, right? The second one is possibly the lack of engagement in the website. Now, me and a few other people have said the same thing, right? But when factions was a thing, yeah, I loved, Saturday evening, yeah, I'd look at, NA Emerald and see all the scores and be like, oh shit, like,
What's
who's
going on?
left
Yeah,
to
who's about
play,
to
like
win?
how close is it, oh no, this person has to 3-0 to actually win it, like you could
And then
follow it
they
all
pull it
really well.
off.
Yeah, and you're like, yo, this is insane. But you don't have the same thing because you don't get the scores on the page updated live. And if you want to look at scores, you have to actually click on the individual thing, and it's just not as like fan friendly, Again, maybe this is just a symptom of the fact that it's the first season-ish of the website, and maybe it's something that's going to be improved a bit later. I can't say in it, but I think the third thing that's a potential is the growth of the championship season. Yeah, the championship series. It might mean that you need something, you need a much more polished product for people to want to divert their attention into it as much when you have the championship series going on. Obviously factions came up before the championship series was a thing, and then even as factions and championship series was going hand in hand, factions had already established itself, plus championship series was still in the infancy. So like, I feel like this season people have been way more into it than they were last season. So who knows if factions were still going, if people would be, just as interested. Maybe they would, maybe they wouldn't. I don't know. But I think, with such a solid format being the center point of PvP right now, yeah, I think you need a really, really good product to really capture people's attention,
Yeah. I think that's a really good point. It's just I don't know. I can't really pinpoint it myself either because I feel like I'm not putting as much effort in as I used to, right? With just scrims and preparation stuff, and I kind of get a general sense that that's how a lot of people are too with
Yeah.
this as well. Again, maybe it's before you get tiered, but just I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's. I don't really get the same like
Yeah, it
joy
doesn't
out
have
of
that
it.
energy yet,
Yeah, I'm not really
I
sure what
mean,
it is.
I'm like, I'll give it a chance, sort of thing, in it.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously everyone will,
Especially
like,
as the captain of your team, right? But
yeah, of course. But I think
well, okay, so
obviously everyone will.
they're doing megas for it, and they're
Yeah,
also bringing Zygarde, which I just don't like these decisions, unfortunately.
yeah. You know what?
I
I
don't
think
know if like they're part of it's like a lot of there's a demand for this kind of stuff because I don't know who's demanding megas
I
in
don't
Great
think
League
there's
and
really a
Ultra League.
demand. I'm not gonna lie.
But also Zygarde, who's demanding for Zygarde to be
Yeah,
around besides Master League people? It's just like who's gonna make their Zygarde for Ultra League? It's just a
yeah.
lot of effort. I don't know. I don't know if there maybe there is a big demand for it, but part of me also feels like they're trying to do something to spice it up so people get more excited about it. But
I think that's what it is, man. Because you know what? I think the Zygarde thing is a bit of a, obviously they said that they're going to balance it in terms of assigning an appropriate amount of points where it doesn't seem like meta dominating or you don't seem like you're missing out if you don't use a Zygarde. But I think introducing Zygarde right now when people only ever have one and making people make that decision, I don't think is great, right?
mhm.
In terms of the megas, I think I'm a bit half in there because it's like, on one hand, I think it's kind of cool, yeah. But then on the other hand, it also now feels like another thing to grind. And not saying you have to grind, but it's like, let's say for example, if I don't have enough mega energy, now I've got to go and walk it, right?
Yeah.
Now I've got to make sure that they're all like, I got the PvP ones and they're kind of like, relevant. And that sort of activity feels very much like Master League specialist kind of activity. Do you know what I mean? And it's like the kind of thing that you'd be prepared to do if you're a Master League specialist. And I feel like as a Great League specialist, you don't really want to be doing that. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
You like,
The IV
it
spreads are
feels
also
like another
different
thing to
too.
deal with.
Like a rank 1 for Alligator in Great League is not a rank 1 mega for Alligator.
Yeah,
Like who's
yeah.
gonna make another for Alligator elite TM the Hydrocan on it just for I don't know.
It's
I mean,
long,
there's no
innit? It's
mega
long.
for Alligator.
There's no
Let
mega
me
for
clarify, but
yeah,
you know what I mean.
I think Metacham was a good example because it's like actually a lot of current Metachams aren't necessarily high rank mega Metachams in Ultra League. So you kind of have to build another Metacham or you use the Hundo or like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I And the thing is, I think
I also wish we have open team sheets. Again, another week where I'm getting cheesed on the moveset. And I don't know if it's just like the Ultra League meta specifically where anything could be possible. I'm literally sitting there and my teammates are asking, before scrims, like, what's the moveset? I was like, I think my opponent, this is no hate on my opponent, by the way. Like, I think it was a great pick by them, but it's just super annoying to play into. They had a Gallade into my team.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, Confusion, Leap like close combat's pretty good into my whole team. And they're like, yeah, but what if they run like they could run Cycle Cut and like Synchronize or something? I was like, yeah, they might. But I'm not going to scrim against every single possible combination. Plus, like, they're gonna have to they have to make it second Gallade just for that. And I'm scrimming against a Confusion Gallade this whole time. Game 1, Cycle Cut Leaf Blade Synchronize into my team with a Licky Licky, and my Licky Licky's super safe. The only counter they have is Annihilate. I thought they would at least have close combat. No. I'm getting cheese on these movesets.
Do you know what the other thing
you
is?
think I know my Synchronize counts with Cycle Cut? Heck no. I definitely did.
Do you know what the other thing is possible, though? It's possible, like, some players don't even have enough TMs. So it's like, I was thinking back to like your game last week, right? Yeah. And it's like the moveset that makes sense, they might not even had enough TMs to actually do the make sense moveset. So they had to stick with the subpar moveset, and that's why it worked.
I think it might have been intentional. I think it was intentional. I mean, it was a great choice by them.
You never
it
know,
worked out.
yeah. But you never know in it. It's because, like, obviously some people are really starving for them TMs. So
maybe
like, let's say, for example, this opponent, if they've already built a synchronized Gallade, you think they're going to build a second one?
No, come on now. Everyone has a good Gallade without Synchronize. Don't act like that's the only Gallade they have for Ultra League. They didn't even have. Everyone had Leaf Blade close combat. No, not Shadow.
I don't know.
No. It was definitely intentional for sure.
The thing is, I don't know if like
it's just, I don't know. Maybe I'm just out of shape of like closed team sheets, but I feel like you could just cheese. You could win so many games off cheese strats or cheese movesets, or not even cheese strats, but just unexpected movesets.
Unexpected, yeah.
And
but
just like,
I think
and you have to gamble, right? Do I have the shield? Do I not
about,
shield? Like,
I think that was one of the cool things about factions, in my opinion.
Obviously, I think it's fine to change your moveset once you see their team, but you should have it. You should still have open team sheets before you battle.
How do you do that?
I don't know. Just set like another time period. Like you set like a 24-hour period where you had the movesets revealed or something, or you type it. You're expected to type it to your opponents ahead of time. I don't know. It's just like that can't be too hard of a logistic issue to sort out. But I'd be okay with just locking in the movesets when you lock in your team, and that's it. Just like any other tournament.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I feel like the like using these random movesets in factions, it felt kind of fun. It was like certain movesets that would just never get used. You know what I mean? In it, yeah, and it's just found a place here. I think that was kind of cool about the format. I don't know. Obviously, TMs are genuine concern, but
yeah,
I think that was kind of cool.
I think it was at the time. Maybe I'm just like, maybe I had just back-to-back weeks where I'm just like, just surprised. I don't know. I just the Ultra League meta, I'm just not a fan of in general. I have everything too. Like, it's not a resource issue for me. I just wish they just like open Ultra League or something. To be honest, but
I don't know what the problem with open Ultra League is.
I think they last cycle, so they're just like cycling to a different one. I don't know.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I don't know. I personally would be okay with open Ultra the whole time, but and that's just me.
But yeah,
I'm playing closed open. I'm playing Ultra League specific metas in that Brazilian league I'm in too.
Oh yeah, you're still playing it.
Yeah, I'm the MVP of the cycle. I think our team won. No, I'm not kidding. Like, I scored the most points. I went 1-2 once. That's my only negative. And most weeks I'm 3-0. It's pretty wild. Yeah. But I was running like Brave Bird, Fly, Talonflame because it made sense for the meta. I was running Aurorus. But anyway, that's the. I feel like there's not too much more to this event.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
I think this. There was one other thing which I'm just going to quickly pull up because it was. Also Wiglet in the game. That's fun.
Yeah, it's a biome thing.
Good, but that's fun.
It's not good.
What was it? So there was they. Oh, okay. No, that was the rediscover Kanto. Okay.
Yeah. You're stretching too much. There's nothing more to this event, Anicor.
I thought there was, isn't it? That said, though, there is some like elements which we can discuss a bit later. But yeah, I thought there was just more going on this week, but not really.
Nah.
To be honest, though, I'm kind of fine with it. I'm fine. With it.
I'm not.
I just did the flipping, Brav. If only there was a podcast that would tell us what events were coming up. Yeah, so I would have remembered that the Trubbish Spotlight Hour was.
We talked about it.
Yeah, I know,
we talked about when we talked about the April content. It's the end of this month.
Yeah.
Trubbish. That's a good one to do. Stardust.
I accidentally realized it was on because I opened my app just as it turned 6 o'clock.
I realized it from Twitter because I saw Fleece King post about it, and I remembered.
I'm not really on Twitter.
Yeah,
but it was cool. I caught like 300 Trubbish.
Oh, it's gonna happen for me in about 3 hours. So
looking
forward to seeing how that goes. You need the dust.
Yeah, unfortunately, London failed me with
Cloudy. No Cloudy.
Bruv, they love giving me Cloudy, but not when it's Trubbish Spotlight Hour, of course.
Okay. Well, GBL, you legendary or what? You this clown. So you owe me 2 weeks, right? So you're 2 weeks behind. So
okay. Well, now.
3.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're still 2 weeks behind because it only stops. You only stop owing me the weeks when you hit legend. So you're still 2 weeks behind. So you need to do this plus a 2 weeks additional at a minimum. And then
so we're looking at the whole clown fit. Yeah.
better order the nose and the wig soon because there's.
It's fine. I got a shop next door to me. That's where I got the makeup. It's fine.
They're going to be like, man, you come back every week.
Yeah. I know, innit? Literally, I went in earlier this morning. Yeah, I was out to the geezer. Yeah, like he obviously doesn't get too many customers because it's like a fancy dress shop. So it's like there's queues outside when it's Halloween, right? But all other times of the year, it's just like the odd business here and there.
So you walked in, he's like, man, what's this clown doing here?
I was like, yo, I need clown makeup. Yeah. He was like, oh, we got the whole thing. I was like, not yet. Please.
Come back knows. I give a call ahead of time. Be like, oh, don't worry. You'll have a customer before Halloween this year. Maybe a couple times. Yeah. He's going to know you by name and face real quick.
Yeah, face for sure. I haven't. The thing is, I only properly started playing today, but honestly, no, not today. Sorry, 2 days ago. But honestly, bruv, I was playing Great League, and I was like, yo, I'm rusty, bruv. I'm in the flipping. I dropped down to the 2700s. I'm like rusty.
You're in the pits.
I'm in the pits, man. But it's not even like I'm playing against random teams or anything like that. I'm just not performing. So it's hopefully.
Co-host this podcast might just be a clown for a couple months at this point. So okay, I got a serious question though. What if you don't hit it by the end of the season?
Nah, that's never a question.
Okay.
The only time that's a question is when I don't play throughout the season. So the only seasons I didn't hit legend was because I didn't play, and then the last week came and I was like, oh crap. And then I tried to do it in the last week and it's Catch Cup, and I just can't do it. And I'm like, okay, because I refuse to also build stuff as well. So I'm like,
I'm ready for Catch Cup this time. I got a Hundo Shuckle I'm making. I'm still taking snapshots of the Smeargle of Flying Press every day. I got a Meryl on lock ready to go. Like,
if you don't hit 3,500, bruv.
Catch Cup,
you better, man.
No. But the thing is, everyone else that's climbing that much in Catch Cup are also running that. And no one in the 3,500 in Catch Cup running like a Vulpix,
but you know what the thing is,
Chikorita.
Look, personally, I can't say for sure, right? Yeah, but I feel like it's a similar sort of situation with like Master League, right? Yeah. The people playing Catch Cup, are the people who've gone and grounded out these, Shuckles and Smeargles and stuff like that, A lot of them, that's their only redeeming factor. Yeah.
No, don't say it. You definitely don't say that, right? Because that's probably what people think. No, like I play Master League at high elo, and it is not easy. I'm not
high elo is different. What
do you mean? You're saying high elo Catch Cup.
You should be able to climb, surely.
Yeah, but I'm not in the pits like you. I'm ready. I'm ready in that 3K range. How much further can I go against?
Because I feel like it adjusts up a bit, innit? Yeah, I feel like 3,200 becomes like the sort of like 3,000. Do you know?
Okay, I just need to get clarification for what you're saying. Are you saying that Catch Cup should be easy?
up to a certain elo. If you have like the right mods.
Okay, I don't disagree with you, but I think I'm already past that elo. Is what I'm saying.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
We'll see. If I hit number one leaderboard on Catch Cup,
I can't see
the thing is, the problem is the queues are
either.
too long too. I feel like everyone's going to just be playing Catch Cup Great League if they're going if at that higher elo.
That's true.
People are boring like that. I've been trying to play some Ultra League and just I face like the same. I face 3 or 4 of the same players in one set, like within an hour. Not 3 or 4 times the same person. I mean, 3 or 4 different people multiple times. Yeah.
Multiple times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I switched my team up. I was like, oh, dude, this did not work the second time around. Okay, so next season, I think we could just set some stuff ahead of time. First, a veteran. The other person has to run Skarmy, Wishcash, and Ultra League. Fair?
All right, let me
Fair?
let me say something first. Yeah,
say your thing. Say your thing.
I am having second thoughts about whether I want to do a legend event next season.
Why?
Yeah, the reason. Okay, look,
you won once. So you already quit.
No, it's not even. It's not. It's like, bruv, I don't want the pressure. Yeah, I don't want to be turning up. We don't have to every day looking like this. Yeah.
Well, okay. We can scrap the clown bit if you want, the recurring clown thing if you want.
Okay,
but we also don't have to go as extreme with the
Okay, if it's something not that bad, where it's like, okay, well, obviously I'm gonna try, yeah, but if I don't get it, I don't really care as much.
Maybe it should be something that happens at Worlds.
Yeah, but
we'll be at Worlds, huh?
I do no more cosplays, bro.
Nah, why you rocked the group Missy pretty well. I don't know,
bruv. You know what the annoying thing is, yeah?
What
is that like? I'm like, oh
what's
yeah.
What's a native food in Hawaii that's like very exotic that might not sit well with some people?
I don't know. I don't know a lot about Hawaiian culture.
Yeah.
I'd be down for that though. I like
cool. We just record it, right? In person.
Yeah. You know what the thing is about the Misty thing, yeah? Obviously I was like, oh, this is just a one-day thing, yeah. But bruv, BJ been making all these emojis and stickers.
What? I didn't hit up BJ. I didn't see this.
Bruv, he's just plastered them through our like APC chat and like.
Oh, that's amazing.
Now it's like
that's forever too.
Yeah,
maybe you dress up as Brock.
It's not as bad to do that. It's not as brutal, but
it's not as brutal. It's not as brutal. No.
Yeah, it just feels a bit pointless.
We'll think of something. Draw some ideas. RC Cola, say no running ideas. Okay, I don't need to see Anicor run a 10K in Hawaii around the islands.
Hey, I'd be down. I hate running, but I'd be down. Okay, requirements for the ideas. Yeah. To be honest, though, I'm still down for doing the veteran one because I think Skarmory Wishcash would be kind of cool, and I've got hundos of both. Yeah, because I don't think they'll get enough.
You better have the XLs because
I got the XLs as well. Yeah.
Okay.
I got I got them both ready. They're both lucky hundos, and I got all the XLs.
Oh, okay.
And I think one's a best buddy, the Skarmory, which I think is probably the more preferable best buddy. I think.
I've never seen a Wishcash Ultra League. I don't know if that's better or not.
I have no idea.
You should own the class set. Run triple under 2,500 at that point. Double Mud Boy. It's not bad.
Got people thinking they're cute.
Honestly, that core is pretty strong. What are you weak against?
Yeah. Exactly. You know. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, in terms of the legend bet, requirements are something where, because look, the thing is, is that next season, I definitely want to I want to do a lot of there's two things I want to do next season, right? I want to do a lot of like GBL and stuff like that. Yeah. I don't want to feel like I'm under any particular pressure. So I kind of like want to do them when I feel like, for example, like this weekend, even if I was like trying, I wouldn't have been able to play a lot of this weekend because I was like away, I was out of the city. I was like away for certain events and stuff like that. So it's like sometimes I don't want to feel like bad for missing a day of sets. But I'm going to try because I want to like improve. I'm like really looking forward to like the next championship series season. So I feel like I need to, start work now. But also I want to start a few like Pokemon related projects. Like some in tandem with Dracoviz, some like independently. So I also want to spend the season doing that as well. So, I want to feel a bit less pressure, you know what I mean?
I mean, you need to play some GBL because if you can be at Worlds, you need to stay on point.
I know. This is what I'm saying. I'm going to play GBL. I just don't want to feel like, I have to play every single set.
Well, we're thinking something.
But yeah. However, the following season, so on. Because if it's not, then that just means I'm not, fit to take part in the championship series. So it's got to be on.
Okay. Well, drop us some ideas down below.
Yeah, relaxed season next season. That's the vibe. That's the vibe.
You can relax all you want. I'm never losing a bet to you again. I'm just saying. I swear by it. I swear by it.
Season.
Okay. So this week, if you have X, you know. If you don't have X, we can briefly recap.
Probably still know.
You might still know. You might still know. So anyway, this really started a couple days ago, April 20th.
Wait, how far back do we start? Are we like? Because there was stuff going on at the beginning.
I'm just gonna go start with the original tweet. Let's just start with the original tweet.
Okay.
So the original tweet is someone on X, I believe, plays TCG, and they just posted, "I want to learn how to play Pokemon Go or VGC competitively. Which one is easier to learn and get into?" Of course, it got a lot of responses, but it kind of,
internet things.
Yeah. I'm surprised the impressions on this is only 43.5k views because the way people talking about it,
concentrated 43.5k.
Well, yeah, you would have thought that. Actually, so Frosty Caribou's responses actually has even more. It has 47k, which is actually even funnier. But poignantly, one of the casters for VGC, Frosty Caribou, said, "VGC all day long. Pogo is the most inaccessible game ever for competitive play. It takes forever to get a decent team together." And of course, that's sparked a bunch of different conversations. Obviously, there are more replies to that tweet. Some Go players saying definitely try Go. Some VGC players saying VGC, blah, blah, blah. Boo obviously is not a VGC or Go player. It's a TG player. So giving her 2 cents on that. And then there were a bunch of replies to it. Some aggressive, some maybe not so aggressive, blah, blah, blah. And I probably read more from the Go side of things because, I don't know, VGC players didn't seem that heated about it. But most of the Go players were like, a lot of the Go players, not all of them, right? There were some Go players that said, yeah, it is kind of inaccessible. And others were like, no, it's not inaccessible. Like the recent UIC, team is all non-XLs, blah, blah, blah. And then there's all these arguments about what accessibility means. And we're like, whoa, like, for VGC, you had to buy a Switch in the game, which costs some money. Everyone has a phone, right? And so we're like, not everyone has a phone. Like, iPhones can cost like over $1,000, blah, blah. All these random things. Anyway, it really went down like a whole rabbit hole of things. I assume you read it, even though you have a bunch of people muted or you only been on following.
Nah, do you know what? Honestly, bruv, okay. I have so many people muted, yeah. Unfortunately, yeah. I actually follow Boo. And so these are the kind of things I don't like to see on my timeline. So I had to mute that actual thread because it kept on popping up. It's really jarring. I get basically, I think I don't even need to read like the word for word because people were posting stuff in like Discord servers. So I was seeing like certain tweets and like I don't even need to read the word for word to.
What's your take on this? Actually, I'm curious.
I haven't heard your first of all, yeah, I'm gonna extract one argument, yeah, and throw it away, yeah. Anything that has to do with like attacking people or anything like that, yeah, I'm throwing that in the bin, bruv. Yeah, this is the flipping internet, yeah. Like, I don't know how people have gone 5, 6, 7 years and think they can still have, amicable discussions on the internet. Just log off, yeah.
Well, especially with the tone of voice some people took, yeah.
Bruv, it's like, the thing is that
you're
like,
not
I'm not even
saying,
I'm not saying like, because there's some people who do take an attacking approach, yeah, and I wouldn't give them the time of day, yeah, and at the same time, it's like trying to have a discussion on the internet when it's this heated. You're out of your mind. Yeah, you're out of your mind. So anything to
well,
do
obviously
with,
they're out of their mind if they're heated over this.
yeah, man, anything to do with attacking people and stuff like that, yeah, I'm throwing that in the bin, bruv. If you want to believe that, yeah, there's probably a corner of the internet where you can chat about people about that. Yeah,
Corner is a lot of places. It's the
yeah,
whole
it's just a
open
whole,
room.
yeah, man. All right, so let's
X is the
throw
right
that
place
away.
for you.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, you can unmute everyone, yeah, because I know you'll enjoy it. So just talking about accessibility. So and I think one point that I think needs to be said is, I guess, yeah, one point that needs to be said is, I think the main thing that sparked um a lot of the comments was, I guess, the tone of Boo's first reply, where it does seem a bit more negative towards Go than is ideal, right? So obviously a lot of people are going to get like, kind of heated about that. Okay, accessibility. Now, honestly, not really the most accessible, yeah. At the same time, I think it's not as inaccessible to a certain degree, right? What do I mean by that? First of all, I think you can't compare all three games, right? Because
Well, we're just
TCG.
comparing VGC and Go. We
Okay,
don't have to
yeah.
compare
Okay,
TCG,
so
right?
I think it's difficult to compare both games because I tried to compete in VGC back in the day.
Mhm.
This was while I was still playing in Go, and actually I was able to make a team, EV them, do all that sort of stuff. And what did it really require me to do? I think I finished Sword and Shield. I had to finish Sword and Shield. Yeah. So it was a time sync, like however long it takes to finish the game, maybe like 20 hours, 30 hours, whatever.
Yeah,
And then, the time required to like build the Pokemon, things like that.
right.
However, it was a very predictable time sync. I knew how much
Mhm.
time that I could do it in.
Yeah.
And it obviously cost me the game and the Switch, right? So it was very much like I was like, oh, I want to enter the Players Cup, yeah. And I was very confident. I was like, okay, well, I can enter it by this time, yeah. And in the meantime, also I could practice with rental teams while I hadn't had my team built, and I could build
Mhm.
it in the process. So that's one benefit to the fact that VGC is like kind of accessible in that point, in that sense. However, you would have to most of the time buy 2 copies of the game. You would have to invest the time into like building certain Pokemon, tweaking IVs and that sort
You
of
couldn't
stuff.
trade with anyone?
I didn't really know anyone to trade for. I
Uh,
was trying to message people on Discord. I didn't have anyone to trade with.
yeah.
Um, I know a lot of people. I'll actually be very honest. I'm not gonna lie, man. I don't play VGC. It don't even matter. I had like one of those little like like macro things that you plug into your Switch, yeah, that just like hatches a load of eggs, yeah.
What?
So
I don't even know what that does or what
it's
that
like
is.
it like basically like you have to like cycle around, right, to hatch eggs, yeah. So it basically like automated the
Use the
programming
phone
process.
rocker for the
I
Switch.
used I used the Switch equivalent of a phone rocker, and I don't care.
Man's defitting his
And
sword and shields.
bruv, you know what the thing is though, yeah, is that like one thing about Sword and Shield though is that like low key, I think that was honestly, I'm not gonna lie, yeah. I think without any friends, I feel like that was kind of necessary because actually, if I had to do all that manually, it would have taken way too much time. In addition, trading Pokemon is not always a fail-safe method because so many people have been DQ'd from having traded Pokemon that were
They're
originally
hacked, yeah.
hacked. Yeah.
Mhm.
So it doesn't help the fact that like you can get hacked Pokemon in the official trading system. In the GTS, they can send you hacked Pokemon. Yeah. If you're starting out in the game, how are you supposed to know? You're going to go to an event and get DQ'd, right?
Well,
And some people,
even if you do know about that, you still could get DQ'd if you don't
sometimes you can
know.
get it, yeah, because
Yeah.
sometimes
You don't know who you're getting
like you
from.
might ask a friend and be like, yo, do you have this? Yeah. And they're, maybe they even got it from somewhere they don't even know, right? But like you can end up with a hacked Pokemon and you don't even know, right? And you can get DQ. So a bit unfortunate. Okay. And when it comes to Go though, right? How accessible is Go when it comes to competitive play? Now, yeah, you can't like that predictably be like, okay, I'm gonna start Go right now and I'm gonna compete in a regional in 2 weeks. Yeah. would you be able to compete in the regional? I don't know, man. I feel like you'd have to put in a lot of time. However, I do
More
think
than 30
that,
hours.
yeah, more than
Dude,
30
just
hours to
getting the
beat that. Yeah,
Stardust to double move everything and power it up to the
that
right
is also
level,
true.
even if
That
they're
is also
not
true.
excelled,
Yeah.
that's a lot of dust.
I mean, I think there's definitely, let's say you had a guide, an efficiency guide. Yeah. I feel like there's good ways to go about it. Yeah. And you could cut that time down a bit. You could cut the grind down a bit. Right. And in addition, obviously, you're not
Depends on
expected
where you
that.
live too. If you live in like a rural
That's
area,
true. That's
dude,
true. Yeah. Yeah.
ain't
Yeah.
no guy gonna save you from your
Yeah.
5 spawns and 0
Yeah.
Pokestops.
Yeah. If you're
Like,
living in a rural area, it's a tricky one. Yeah. I
it's a
think,
lot of people.
yeah. I mean, there needs to be, I think there needs to be if you're living in a rural area, there almost needs to be like a base level of resource to allow you. Because the thing is, I think if you're starting out in competitive, yeah, we're also throwing IVs in the bin. Yeah, we're maybe even throwing some metamons in the bin because really and truly, yeah, that's not going to be your that's not going to be your bottleneck when it comes to tournaments, right? Your bottleneck is most likely going to be your own personal skill. Yeah. And honestly, by the time that your bottleneck ends up not being your personal skill and starts becoming your team and resources, then it's like, well, maybe now's a good time to start playing the rest of the game, I guess. But a majority of the time, I think your bottleneck is not actually going to be, um, your team and resources.
I don't
I
know. I
say
mean,
this,
okay, so let's say this. If you want to run a Registeel or Cresselia in your team, it's
you
impossible.
can't. You
They're
can't.
not
But
in
then you can't be
unless they're
running
in if
Registeel
they're
and
not in
Crystal.
raids, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because even Cress, you can say, "Oh, someone could trade it to you."
Hmm.
Oh, how much is that going to cost? 1,000,000 with someone that you just add. You just started the game. You're not best friends with them. You don't have it
Mhm.
registered. It's going to cost you $1,000,000. Who
Yeah.
I don't know if the person's willing to trade you for 1,000,000, but even if they were, where's your 1,000,000 coming from? You ain't got 1,000,000
Yeah.
dust to trade for a chance to get a Cresselia under 1,500. Like,
Yeah.
it's not possible. And
I,
Cresselia is super
yeah. It's
relevant
true.
in the
It's
meta, right?
true.
I mean, look at how many were in Sao
Yeah.
Paulo.
But the thing is
Registeel's
that
still pretty strong.
you would you'd have to do one of two things, I think. You'd either have to, let's say for example, if you were planning to compete in let's say the LA regional, right? Right now.
Yeah.
You got uh let's say NAIC, yeah. You got about a month and a half, right?
I
I
think
think
this
you'd have
person
to
is
be.
trying to go to LA regionals to compete. I don't know,
Oh
or
really?
maybe not. It just says I'm looking at the person CC that posted the original
Yeah.
post. Says they're going to LA regionals in their
Oh,
thing,
okay. Well, maybe,
but my
yeah.
guess is maybe not to compete. Maybe just to learn general because
Right. Yeah, yeah.
registration would have been sold out for VGC for sure. Go definitely still
That's
has
true. That's
plenty,
true.
but
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, let's say you're trying to compete in LA. I think you would have to. It would definitely be a long term thing, right? You could potentially do it short term, low budget, meaning like low Stardust budget, and maybe that involves doing, for example, like tuning into one of the regionals, getting all those metamons so you just at least have them, and then I don't know, like figuring out a way to just like bump them up to 1,500. Alternatively, also like catching some stuff around you, maybe for a day, like Swablues are spawning. There's some like relatively like meta things that are spawning, so you can have a team to actually use, right? And then from there you start working on your gameplay. I think that's a very valid method. Or if you wanted to, like, you were really dedicated to using a certain team, then it would require you to be a bit more resourceful. You've got to, build up your resources over the time, and then you've got to, do some trades. So you've got to interact with like your community. Now, what does that say in terms of accessibility? The thing is the nature of Pokemon Go, all those things I just said, yeah, the creators of Pokemon Go, they kind of, that's kind of what they want. Do you know what I mean? It is kind of like the ideal sort of situation. They want you to go out and like do some trades. They want you to like, grind out the game a bit more. Um, so would you say it's inaccessible? No, because I think you can get ready for competitive, yeah, in a short space of time if you really wanted to. Do we have the resources to inform people that that's the case? Also, no. Yeah, I don't think anyone's really made any content about that. I don't think people are aware about that. I don't think people are aware of the best way to get into competitive in the quickest sort of amount of time. But is it possible? 100%. Yeah. Emmy Weedle, senior world champion, literally only had 6 mons built when he won the world championships. Yeah, and he'd been playing Go for like maybe a few months prior. So it is definitely possible, but
6 months is a long time though.
6 months is a long time, but at the same time, like he only had 6 mons, so he obviously.
I know 6 months for 6 Pokemon. It's a long time.
But as in like he
agree?
entered these. He entered these mons into like he had them prior. Do you know what I mean? In it, yeah. So he definitely built them way earlier than in 6 months.
But it wasn't a month.
He just didn't
like
build any extra
months.
ones. He could have built extra ones maybe, but I guess he just didn't play as much. Actually, interestingly enough, is one point that was valid to him is that again, the nature of the game meant that he didn't necessarily have the same opportunities to grind, because he can't just be, he's a kid, he can't just be bopping out of the house and just going on like 1 hour walks, 2 hour walks, or anything like that.
Well, a lot of adults can't either. On top of that,
sorry,
so a lot of adults can't just randomly do that too, right?
Okay, yeah. And I think
not everyone has the time to just stroll down to the local costume shop and buy some clown fits, right?
I think an hour walk is good for you, whoever you are, But so a majority of his grinding he had to do on the way to school and on the way back from school on the bus. So I think you can make it work, and I think if the resources existed, it would be a bit more obvious that you can make it work. But I can see from Boo's perspective, she's got none of those resources. The way that she was trying to get into Go initially is, I don't think, helping, because she was out there doing Mega Metacham raids and really,
because Metacham was super meta.
Yeah, but then is Metacham really, is not having a Metacham her bottleneck when it comes into going into a tournament, or is it her skill level?
Well, I guess the question is, what was she? Right? What could she have run if she didn't have a DD or a Metacham? This is last year's meta.
I can't remember. Maybe Obstagoon, something like that. I don't
know. Maybe that's
like
a possibility.
A bit of a core breaker. Maybe like a. I think there was some like non-fighter teams, right? Because Rise was doing like the like swamp.
It's possible, right?
Yeah,
but I think like,
possible.
but but the thing is, like, if you're gonna teach someone early on, you're not giving them a spice team. You give them a meta team to run. Right.
Yeah, but you also need to be like realistic on like the mons that you can get. However,
well, she did build it.
Well, then I guess that was
after a lot of raids. She was like 9,999 Metacham energy, right?
Well, yeah, you know what? If you want to commit to like that route, fair enough, innit? But it's not necessarily the route you have to commit to. However, a good point is, and I don't know if this is, I'd say you could say this is like a. Yeah. A good point, because I was chatting to Polly a bit earlier, and it was a point that Adib made where the other games have ways of you practicing without having the mons, whether that be rental teams or like, I don't know what they do in TCG. There's also like Pokemon Showdown, but obviously Pokemon Showdown isn't official. So rental teams is like almost the official version of like, Pokemon Showdown, where you can take a rental team, you can practice with that rental team. Meanwhile, you're building your Pokemon or you're finishing the game. You're like, doing whatever things that you need to in that period of time. And you can be like, look, I'm going to make my team exactly like this. And you've gotten loads of reps with that team. You can't necessarily say the same thing for Go. So that is a bit of a downside, accessibility wise. But what was your take on it? Because you actually read all the stuff. So
I did. I read probably more than I need to. Okay, so the original question from CC was, which one is easier to learn and get into? Easy to learn, probably Go. Right? I think like VGC is very, very complicated in terms of all the different interactions, abilities, all that stuff. There's a lot. True. It's a much more complicated game. It's been around for over 10 years. It's a complicated game. Get into is probably more so the accessibility point. And obviously, the main discussion is accessibility after Boost Post, right? It's not even getting into is not even what a lot of people are focusing on anymore. Dude, in my opinion, this is a no-brainer. I get everything you just said, right? And a lot of people saying like, oh, it's like, it's not, I'm not saying it's how possible it is, if it's possible or not. It's about which one's more accessible or not. And flat out, there's no way VGC is less accessible. Okay, sure, whatever. If you don't have the money to buy a Switch to buy the game, yeah, sure. What do you mean is it accessible? Then you just can't even play that game, right? You can only play
Fair
1
enough,
to 2
yeah.
games. But assuming you can, right? And my guess is CC posted this because they have the Switch or have the ability to, right? Otherwise, like, why even ask a question if you physically can't? So that's a moot point, in my opinion. But I remember when I played Scarlet and Violet, I literally, when I was leveling a Pokemon with rare candies and I was getting bottle caps to max out IVs, I literally was sitting there. I was like, that's it? Like, that's all I had to do? When I beat the game in like 30 something hours, the whole game, I was like, that's it? Like, that was easy. Like, it was, and you get the legendary, Miraidon or whatever that I had the other one. Koraidon is the one I had. But I was like, got Koraidon, I got all the Pokemon, and then you could do raids. I was like, I could just raid with random people online or with my friends online. I don't have to go anywhere. I could just trade with someone randomly. I don't do anything. Oh, there's not a limit of what I could special trade for the day, like something I don't have registered in my Pokedex. Like, I was shocked at how easy it was. Oh, I can't get the right move. Oh, there's TMs that just teach it right away. I don't have to go through roulettes. Like, what are people coping on right now that they don't understand? That, like, of course, okay, outside of the cost of the game, of course it's way easier to build a team. Like, I don't even care. I'm not even trying to get arguments with people about, like, oh, how possible it is. Like, yeah, if you grind for like 6 months, you get 6 Pokemon and you can finally play in a tournament. What? Like, well, okay, I'm not saying it's not possible. I've been playing Pokemon Go since it dropped, but there's 100% no way that VGC is less accessible. Yes, it took years for them to have like the bottle caps and that other item that reduces the IVs and stuff, right? But they have it. Right?
Yeah.
I don't even care if you say, like, well, they took years for it. I'm like, well, it doesn't matter. This is a question about present day now. What's just more accessible? Like, I don't understand. Some of the same people saying, oh, it's such an accessible game and stuff are the same people that complain about Niantic not making the game accessible. Like, which is it? Like, I'm not like, look, I'm not hating on Go, but we've been talking about accessibility issues for Pokemon Go since forever, right? Since the start of this podcast, since even when Michael Staranko was on, I was talking about accessibility concerns, and that's my main. Because I'm not saying this because I'm trying to like crap on our game or anything. This is the truth, right? Like, if okay, let's, for instance, let's say if you had a kid one day, right, and your kid's like, hey, Dad, I want to play in the next regional. And can I make a Pokemon Go account? And you create them. What's going on through your mind? Oh boy, like, this kid's gonna be like, I'm gonna have to give up so many resources to help get him even the Pokemon needed, right? Like, we're gonna go to the park every day after school and do, like, it's, you already know if you presented with this task, you have your work cut out for yourself as someone trying to guide someone to do it, let alone someone trying to navigate it by themselves. Like, I like, it's so cut and dry, right? Some of these people are like, well, you could do this stuff that USC team. It's not about if you can or can't. Obviously, it's possible. It's just which is easier. And 100% BGC is easier because the main difference is they're listening to their player base and they're making things easier. They realize the hack Pokemon's a problem. So why are people trading hack Pokemon? Because it's hard to get the IV spread they want naturally. So now you have 2 items that manipulate the IVs up or down. Easy. No more need for hack Pokemon, right? Like, and then you have rare candy. So yes, you don't have to grind and fight a bunch of Pokemon. You just get all these rare candies from doing a bunch of endless raids with random people online. Done, right? You could literally make your team and have it ready. Forget about the rental team. The rest of it is still easier, even outside of the rental team. The trading stuff, you're missing stuff. Oh, like, oh, the community is so nice in Pokemon Go. They can trade you stuff. Oh, great. All right, they're going to meet up for trades. You're going to trade a bunch of stuff, and like, none of it pans out. IV spread rise, or like you're trying to re-roll Cresselia and you don't even get it, right? Oh, you got to show up the next day again. I'll meet you again. What? in BGC, you really hit them on Discord, and they're like, yeah, I'm hopping in screen right now. Let's just do trades. Boom, bam, bam, right? 5, my missing 5 Pokedex entries, I get them in literally 2 minutes from, I got that from one of my patrons, actually, when I was playing Scarlet and Violet. Like, we talk about, like, people constantly complain, like, oh, we should have like remote trading, right? Or remote lucky trade, or more than one special trade a day, or there should be IV manipulation items. We talk about this in the podcast and in past episodes too. We literally talk about how inaccessible this game is on a week-to-week basis, and all of a sudden people are trying to say it's accessible. Like, it's not. it's not impossible. I'm not saying it's not possible. It's going to take work. It's going to take months. But who wants to spend months just to have a chance to play something competitive? Most
True, yeah.
games, yes, there's a little bit of grind to it sometimes, but after at max a week, you could play competitively in like anything. Honestly, every game I've played outside of Pokemon Go, you could play on a competitive level within a week, sometimes less, right? Pokemon Unite, League of Legends, forget. Oh, the only games that you can't is like RPG games, right? Like where you have to actually build up, train up your levels, and get the armor and all this stuff. But that the whole purpose of that is that's a grind game, right? That those games are meant for the grind. Pokemon Go is not. So I mean,
I
in
guess maybe
Niantic's
it is,
vision,
innit?
they might think it's meant for the grind,
Yeah.
but
They're like doing RPG, but in real life, innit?
they're doing RPG, yeah, but in competitive,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know why the competitive format is a great league? Because Ultra League and Master League is inaccessible. It's like it's 2/3 of the game is inaccessible, so you have to default to one, and even the one format you have is not that accessible. I don't know what people are coping on.
Yeah.
Is anything I'm saying incorrect? I don't think
Nah,
so. Like,
honestly,
it's
yeah, everything's
crazy.
just everything you're saying is
What are
correct.
people being defensive
Yeah.
about? Yeah,
I think it's, you know
maybe
what?
if they didn't
I
like
mean,
Boo's tone of voice, whatever. But
yeah,
what is
I
she
think it's
saying?
majority that
But what is she saying that's
because
incorrect?
again, it's more the tone, and I think it's like from the people whose opinion I respect.
She's
Um,
played more Pokemon Go than most of these players have played TCG. You
yeah,
know,
probably. Yeah. But
like
yeah, from the players whose opinion I respect, I feel like the main issue is, um, and I guess also the reason why, like, you know, some people got heated is that, um, with a negative tone from someone who's a caster as well, it's like not a great light. In terms of, you know, like obviously,
okay.
it,
Well, actually, I guess the question is, did anything she say is incorrect? She should
um,
just like sugarcoat it more.
nah, I think elements of like,
It does take
uh,
forever to get a decent team together. It is
yeah,
arguably one of the most accessible game for competitive play. I'll say it. I think it is.
yeah, I
Oh,
think it just doesn't
elite
feel.
TMs.
Yeah,
Why is elite
yeah,
TMs even a
yeah,
thing? Why is there even a roulette for charge TMs? Why
yeah,
can't you just TM
true.
something and get it? Why do you even need to unlock a second move that costs a buttload of resources, right? Like it's just
Yeah,
there's so many barrier factors to this that's yeah, and candies too, right?
mm,
You can't use regular candies. It's not like the main series game where you just use rare candies for anything. I mean, you could for this, but getting actually rare candies is a whole different story
hard,
and
yeah,
Go that you had to spend a decent amount of money on if you want to
yeah,
accelerate that. You have to get specific candies for a specific species of Pokemon, and you best hope that that Pokemon spawning in the wild. Because if you're trying to make a competitive team for Bologna, right, from a scratch account, when's the last time you saw a wild Mankey, right? Actually, I did see like one or
yeah,
two, but
today,
not.
yeah,
But Skarmory, right? Like, where do you see these, right?
yeah, that's
And you
true.
can say, oh well, if you find nice people in the community, they'll trade you all this stuff and blah blah blah. Do you have the dust to
Yeah,
trade it? These are new dex entries for people. They're special
that's
trades.
true,
Also, like,
yeah,
who has a bunch of
honestly,
random people that's just going to offload stuff? If you do, great, lucky you, right? Very nice
yeah,
locals you have, but that's not always the case, dude.
yeah, honestly,
Inaccessibility is a huge issue, and I
yeah.
wish Niantic would do better to address it. Right? Like,
Mhm.
why are we defending this?
Yeah. Well, one thing, so amongst like everything that I don't like to read or engage in, one thing that I was kind of happy about. Um, so Tomahawk is someone who likes to read and engage in a lot of these things.
Oh, I saw
However,
a lot of his tweets.
yeah,
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 yeah.
he's going in. But you know what the thing is that like after seeing that, because I was just like blanket, I was like, look, bruv, like I don't understand why you're engaging in these people in it. Yeah. But the thing is that actually, I think if you've got someone who's one got the energy and willing to engage in you know discussions online, right? But then two is also very good at one not being too emotional. Two is also very good at how they come across. Like this guy's a lawyer for like his job, right? So you know everything that he writes you know online is like you know very well thought through and also like comes across like very well as well. And I was thinking, I was just like, you know what, and I think eventually you know, chat to Boo a bit, and they're like having some sort of discussions and stuff like that. But I was thinking, I was like, actually, you know what? I'm kind of happy that there is someone like him who's willing to engage, because I think we could have a lot worse people willing to engage. I mean, there was worse people willing to engage. Do you know what I mean? Innit? There were way worse people who were engaging, and I don't really want them representing us as a game
Yeah, I mean
personally.
that
Yeah.
that in itself was a
Um,
huge like turnoff probably to some people reading these threads who
yeah,
don't play
you know what I
Go.
mean, innit? But
Like, why is
I'm
the
I'm
community so
happy that
aggressive?
that we have someone like Tomahawk who's willing to do it, because personally I trust his like one his like um what's the word, like the fact that he wants like the game to grow. I don't know if there's a word for that, but then also the way he comes across,
His like
that I feel like
intentions.
he's a good, yeah, I think he's a good representative. And so I think that's one good thing that came out of it, where it's like I think there's a good spokesperson in Tomahawk, yeah, which is more than I can say for, some other people who have equally as official positions in the in the circuit. Let me just say that, yeah, bruv.
You gonna name the names, or you just leave me hanging here?
You know what? I ain't gonna name names in it, yeah, but like, let me just say, yeah, yeah, if you're following every single caster, yeah, just pick the one that had the most nothing to say. That's all I have to say. Yeah, but actually made it into a tweet. Is yeah, that's all I gotta say. So I'm honestly really happy that there's like someone like him who's actually able to like navigate that sort of thing, because again, discussions online, they can become like this, and they can be for the worse than the best. And I think that's like where everyone's head was at, is that like the initial thing spurring it put things in a negative light. Did a lot of people help the situation? Nah, they actually
No, they
probably
hurt
made it
it.
worse.
Yeah, they made it worse.
Yeah, probably made it a lot worse. But
Honestly, if you really want to make change, you quote retweet Boo and be like, "Yo, Niantic, like this is the reality, right? This is how people view our game,
yeah,
which is not incorrect." And
it's
I
not
know Boo
incorrect.
said like,
Yeah,
"Oh, she's gonna make a video and stuff on different
yeah,
games."
and
So
that all
like,
seemed a bit like,
I mean, look, there's nothing wrong
it
with
was a
that.
bit,
I think
yeah,
too, right? She's like consulting with some Go players, VGC players, and stuff for that. But the thing is, that's not going to change anything, in my opinion. I hope it does, but I don't think it does. That's not
do you know what?
Boo making a video. It's not going to make
Yeah,
Niantic like it's not going to make the game more accessible, right? It might give you some
no,
tips
no,
and
no, for
tricks,
sure, innit? For
but
sure.
like the bigger issue is the barriers that Niantic has put in place in the game itself that has made the game less accessible for players.
Mm. I want to feel like amongst all this, drama over this week, that um maybe it's put it at the forefront of like some Niantic people's
I hope
minds. You know what I
so.
mean? I don't know, innit? And
For
I
those of you
hope so, innit?
listening, I mean,
Yeah, man. You know what? And
ain't like
also,
the first
those of you
time we said
listening,
it's
yeah,
inaccessible,
yeah.
right? Like,
Those of you
I've
listening,
been
yeah,
saying
like I
it.
know it's so easy. It's so easy to put people on a mute list, yeah, because most people, yeah, they got nothing useful to say, yeah, and I encourage it, yeah. But
I
you
think
can
you're speaking
unmute
for
Tomahawk,
yourself
yeah.
here.
You can unmute Tomahawk, bruv.
Are you
Honestly,
saying that
yeah.
90 people have muted Tomahawk already?
Nah, I imagine they haven't. I like to think they haven't. Yeah, you can keep him
Why would
unmuted.
you mute Tomahawk?
Yeah.
Tomahawk doesn't really tweet anything like
I
weird.
know, innit? I know. It's just like I think it's
I
you know
can't
what
find his
my
Twitter half the
like
time.
I say this as a joke, yeah, but like in all seriousness, I feel like a lot of the time, yeah, like let's say for example, if you were in a position of like, let's say for example, who's the community manager, like Kestrel or something like that, yeah.
Yeah,
Let's say if you were them, yeah. Personally, I think if I was them, I would have very good reason to use the mute list, because there are probably so many people bombarding them with absolute crap. Do you know what I mean?
that's
Innit?
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Where I'm
Of
like, you know
course.
what?
They
I
have like
don't
death
like,
threats and
one, this
stuff.
is not good for my mental health. Yeah. And two, I don't need to listen to a lot of this because it's not a good take. Yeah. So I feel like if you have that sort of thing, you might become a bit like me, where you just don't listen to anything at all. Right. And I feel like that's an easy position to get into, because again, think about it, like, you're your own priority, right? Yeah, the game is not necessarily your own priority. So if not reading a lot of this stuff is what's beneficial for your mental health, yeah, I wouldn't read it, you know. but then that means you also miss all the good takes and you miss all the like people who have genuine constructive criticism.
Well, Kestrel's pretty
So
active on Twitter, so I don't think that's a concern.
yeah, I know, but I think like for other people, this is like an example, but I feel like there may be a good argument for other people to just be like, you know what, there's a lot of crap that I just don't need to be, you know, hearing or involved in it.
I don't even think like anything Tomahawk said is bad or anything. I'm at the point where I'm like, what is Tomahawk tweeting going to do? Not on Tomahawk specifically. I'm saying anyone, right?
Yeah.
Right? Unless you're like a partner creator that has
Yeah.
direct feedback lines, and even then, I've heard sketch thing, like not sketch things, but like maybe
I
inefficient.
hope, yeah.
Like it's just no. I'm
I
not
hope it
trying to
just
like.
gives
I'm not
another
trying to like
no, I
rain
get
on
you
your
in it,
parade and your optimism,
but
right?
I
But
hope it just gives another like valid voice to listen to. Do you know what I mean? In it, because there's a lot of voices, yeah, where I'm like, where let's say to most people it might seem like a valid voice, and I'm like, I don't know about that one. Do you know what I mean? In it, you know,
I
but
don't
I
think you're
feel
giving Niantic enough credit.
maybe, yeah, maybe not.
Like these aren't like toddlers running a company, right? Like I think they could discern from all the mass like tweets they get which ones are like reasonable, logical.
Do you want to go through all that though? Do you know what I mean?
I mean, for some people that's their job, right? For community managers or for people looking feedback. I've talked to some people that work in Niantic and they see stuff. They've seen like certain tweets from like even lesser, like smaller Go creators. And I'm like, oh wow, I'm surprised you saw that. I barely saw that one, right? So they're combing through it. So I think like I give them not the benefit of doubt, but I give them credit that they're actually paying attention.
Right.
The bigger issue is not that. The bigger issue is they
attention.
see the feedback and certain things still aren't changed for XYZ reasons. Might be out of their specific like this staffer's control, right? Or maybe they just disagree fundamentally, or likelihood is the leadership is just resistant to it. But I just like want to play a game where they actually listen to the player base and try to improve. Like VGC is such a good example. They introduced Bobcats, they introduced that other thing that like reduces IVs. They like made like the rare candies easier to get, and it's so easy to raid online. Like they make the game accessible and easier to play for the player base, and that's what they're looking for, right? They're not making it. There is a grind to it, but the grind is not months worth of grind. It's 30 plus hours, 40 hours, maybe 3 days worth of grinding to get what you want to compete. And then that's why they have these record-setting numbers of participants every single regional. Every regional in North America, they're like, oh, this is the largest VGC tournament ever. And then 1 month later, oh, this is the largest VGC tournament ever. And you got like Wolfie that's winning all these, or like a bunch of them, and he's creating a new thumbnail saying like, I just won the largest VGC tournament in history, and he creates another one 2 months later, which is true. It's true because the game's growing, right?
Yeah, it's true.
Pokemon Go is growing a little bit in attendance, but it's just you. Like I said, you can't.
Yeah.
It's just not possible to compete at the level that VGC and TG players can compete in the short amount of time. And for a lot of people, they're just going to give up. It's like it's not worth the grind. Like the on top of the factors, you have to also go outside, right? Not everyone has the luxury to walk around outside, go to parks, or they might just have terrible spawns in their location, right? Like if you live in New York City and you're just on top of 5 stops, sure, you don't have to leave anywhere. You live in Japan, it's easy enough. But if you live in the middle of nowhere, right? Maybe in some rural place, I can't even do that. You can't even raid all the Metacham because now there's a remote raid pass limit, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just
really doesn't help. Yeah,
it doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's why I'm just reading these comments. I'm like, what are you all on? Of course it's inaccessible. I'm not like the question is not, is it possible to make a team? Yes. I'm laughing at people like in a good 5 months or so, you'll have a competitive team. 5 months? Who wants to wait 5 months to play a game? Imagine downloading a game or getting a game and saying, hey, just a heads up. I know you just got this game, you decided to play it, but you won't be able to play on the competitive level for at least 5 months if you dedicate yourself to it. But you got to be consistent too in these 5 months to be like, you know how ridiculous that is? That's crazy. Like that's so ridiculous. But that's just that's the reality we live in, and people. I don't know why people don't acknowledge that. Like,
that's true.
I want people to acknowledge it, and I want people to be more critical, of Niantic, so that they can hopefully listen and make that change. Because if not, you're gonna have more people, dude. That like people aren't gonna say a game's inaccessible if the game is accessible. there obviously are inaccessibility concerns for sure, right? Like, ain't no one going to be like, I've never heard anyone say TCG is inaccessible. It'll cost you some money to buy the cards, but no one's saying that, right? I've never heard anyone say VGC is inaccessible. If you have to switch in the game, no, I've never heard anyone say VGC is inaccessible, right?
I think so. Some VGC players
back
do...
in the day, when they were like, getting caught for hacking and stuff because the IV manipulation.
No, even
stuff.
now, it's like their issue is that you need both games and you need to play through the entire game of both games plus DLC to get like
yeah. That's probably that. I would say
that's like their main accessibility issue at the moment.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's like
to
it's
get
the
the
fact that they have to
legendaries,
pay
right?
like 150 pounds or something like that.
Yeah.
That's like their main thing.
Yeah, and to play through that.
So yeah, but I mean, yeah, equally that compared to like everything else.
Do you need both games? Can't you just like get a friend to play? Like if you have Scarlet, have Violet,
because you can only get like one Urshifu.
I know, but I'll just like create a separate account on my.
Oh, okay. So Urshifu you can't get from Scarlet and Violet. You have to get it for Sword and Shield. So you have to buy Sword and Shield. If you want I think Calyrex is also the same.
Honestly,
so basically, at the moment, you have to have like both copies of Sword and Shield and both copies of Scarlet and Violet plus the DLCs. Oh, and the DLCs from Sword and Shield because that's where Urshifu comes from.
Yeah.
So it's like you basically have to have the last 2 gems worth of games. So let's say like there's still like maybe like around 150, 200 pounds at max.
That's a decent. That's more than I thought, but that's that's a fair.
So that's a bit annoying, but yeah, in terms of like speed. In terms of speed,
the thing that's the thing that the accessibility that Pokemon Go is making is this making VGC more accessible because you have all these legendaries you could like. I trade with some of the VGC casters, like a lucky trade, and it'll be like, oh, you have a shiny heat train, yeah. What's the spread? 13, 14, 14. But it's okay. I'll trade it to my Scarlet game, and I'll just like bottle cap it, and there we go.
I think when I made my team for the Players Cup, I think because I couldn't get a Landorus,
yeah.
Because no, okay, no.
Landorus is super relevant too in VGC.
Yeah, and basically, I think I ended up actually trading myself a Landorus from Pokemon Go.
Yeah, easy enough. And you just bottle cap it.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's the most accessible. That's the most help Pokemon. Dude, honestly, Pokemon Go is more accessible for VGC than Pokemon Go is for Pokemon Go. For real. True. You could trade yourself. You could, I mean,
all sorts of legendaries.
It's
true.
I know there's some like video and development. I think that Boo's working on stuff. I mean, I'll watch and stuff, but again, unless it changes Niantic's practices around the stuff, how do you make the game more accessible? You drop a few tips and tricks, like I said, right? Like you said it too. Even if you play the game as efficiently and smart as possible,
still take you a bit of time.
Still take it forever, right? I mean, I'm supposed to multi-count, but I'm betting that a very experienced battler, if they just create a blank, fresh account tomorrow, dude, they ain't gonna be ready for Worlds. I mean, maybe if they're lucky, but they gotta grind for it. That's a couple months. They gotta grind really hard.
They'd have to grind.
They won't be ready for NAIC. They won't be ready for LA or Bologna.
Yeah. You know what though? That said though, the thing is because it's an experienced player, I reckon they could do it.
But they had to put so much time into it.
Yeah, they'd have to like do,
and they had to hit up these people for trades.
Yeah, they hit up people for trade. They'd have to do every single finesse. But because they're experienced players, I reckon they can do it. But then again, the
Cresselia too. Getting in Cresselia, if they don't have a research Cresselia to get from a trade, they're re-rolling at people at like 1 million for the first Cresselia. You need 1 million dust. You know how long it took you to get your first 1 million dust in Pokemon Go? Just to squander on a Cresselia that doesn't even hit under 1,500?
You'd have to you'd be like, okay, cool. Bologna in about a bit more than a month, innit, yeah? You have to level up friends.
No, if you level the friendship, then the IVs are going to go over.
Yeah, but then that's how you do the first Cresselia trade. And then you can do the other Cresselia.
I rest my case.
With people at lower friendship.
Inaccessible.
Yeah, it is a bit dumb, yeah.
Yeah.
And there's also no way you're going to know that as a new player as well.
I mean, even if, so you go 90 days of friendship. No, at that point, you just
we don't have 90 days. So we have to go to the 30-day mark. Yeah. That's as far as we can go. So it's like, well,
yeah, true. You can't even go to 90 days. That's right. Yeah.
You'd have to
go a whole month, and then you have about a week, and you got to
to just
re-roll with
create
people
better Cresselias.
constantly.
Yeah.
And you need
Yeah,
people that have Cresselia just
well,
to
I mean,
give
you can re-roll one. You can re-roll one. If we're saying like throw out IVs, right? You can re-roll one, but it'll
It's not
still
about
take 30 days.
re-rolling it, but you have to re-roll it under 1500 unless you have the research one. Who's going to give up their one research
the
one?
normal one goes under 1500.
What are you
As in,
talking
like,
about? We're talking about Cresselia, not Regiseal.
yeah. Normal one goes under 1500.
No, it doesn't. What are you talking
Yeah, it
about?
does, bro.
Only the research
Brother,
Cresselia
you
is
dumb.
guaranteed.
Yeah, that's guaranteed.
Yeah.
Yeah, but with the level 21,
Yeah.
a majority of the spreads go below.
But it's not guaranteed, though. Is what I'm saying.
It's not guaranteed. Okay, maybe you do too.
That's
okay,
a lot
you
of
could end
dust.
up doing it for the whole week and not like.
Do you know how much dust that is? You better hope you actually play the Trubbish community or the Spotlight Hour, right? They start things off.
Do you know what though? I think this would be a cool challenge though for someone to like.
It's against TOS as well. So if you don't think things are hard enough, you're just going to get banned on top of it, right?
My son is.
I'm about to compete in Bologna on Anicor 2. Oh shoot, Anicor 2's got a red warning. What's going on?
Yeah, that's my twin brother. Haven't introduced him to the game yet.
Like,
he's working on it though.
I want the game to succeed. Don't get me wrong, right? And I'm being, but like it is frustrating when you see other games constantly make things more accessible, whereas Go sometimes make things less. Like, why? Again, I know you want people going outside and blah blah blah. Why remove the remote rate limit if you're trying to make the game more accessible? This is the complete opposite, right? It's.
Bruv, I'm thirsty for Tapu Bulu, you know.
Yeah.
I even went to flipping.
I'm actually almost
Raid
good
Hour
on the
last week.
XLs. I did. Yeah, if I do Raid Hour this week, I'll be close, I think.
Yeah, same. I'll be close, but then I'm like,
is it good in Master League?
It's a good spice pick in Master League. It like walls off like a few things, so it's actually decent.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Because like I was like, oh, I can't be bothered for the others, innit? Yeah, but this Tapu Bulu, low-key want that, you know.
Yeah. Anyway, that being said, yeah, that's my take. Some people might disagree with our take on this, but
I honestly, I think,
as someone that's played this,
I
game
think
for
my
a long
optimism
time,
is in the fact that it can improve, whether it be through like us helping on a player side, which there is a gap for anyway. But then
you know what would help
accessibility
accessibility for Worlds or for like the next big international events? Do Twitch drops, but don't just give them the team. You give them the team fully powered up, double moved, exactly how it was run by the champ.
That is big. Yeah,
that would help.
You know what? Even that, again, even if you want to dash IVs on that, cool, yeah. But if
then you can't guarantee that. You can't guarantee it's fully powered up. Oh, you get like.
True.
I mean,
that's true.
Yeah.
I guess you can put them all at the same. No,
the same level wouldn't work. Yeah, they're not the same IVs. Yeah. No, just give them the IV spread.
Right.
Okay, like it's not.
Oh no. Okay.
It's not the end of the world, right? If you give them the same IV spread.
Okay, I'm giving benefit of the doubt. Yeah, if they're not going to do same IVs, you do the first part, where all the mons are at a certain level where even if it's a hundo, it will still be below 1500,
Yeah.
And then the second part of the research gives you candy. So then you can like, if yours is like a low CP, you can power it up 1-2 times.
Just give them the exact Pokemon IV spread.
Yeah.
Is it gonna kill everyone to have like Hard Jeff spread or whatever, or Emmy Weedle's Skeletor spread? Like what's the
I know it'd be nice, innit? It would be nice, yeah. I just don't see them doing
I don't even care if he has potato IVs. That
you know what is nice though?
Point. What?
I think maybe I said this already. Next IC we get Cresselia as a Twitch drop.
Assuming that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, assuming they do the same thing. Yeah. But if they do,
yeah, but
because honestly, if they don't, that'd be a big kick in the face, innit? Because then it's like, well, what else could you have possibly done?
Someone said that
just
recently
to avoid giving us a Cresselia.
Someone said that recently in I think they said it IRL or something to me. I forgot who said it, but like, oh, you know what we should do maybe it was at Orlando. It was like the strategy is convince everyone at Worlds to run Guillotine at Origin, so that the world
Everyone can do
champion has a Guillotine at Origin.
it.
That's PvP
It's true.
relevant.
It's true. Yeah.
Ain't no one gonna do that.
Yeah.
Ain't
No
no
one's
one
gonna do
gonna.
that.
That's almost as
But
dumb as when
the
someone
crest is
said.
cool. The
That's
crest is
almost as
cool.
dumb as when someone said, "If everyone runs Ampharos at a tournament, then Caleb will definitely lose his bet to Butters." Ain't no one gonna do that. Yeah, when they said that, I looked and it was like 0 Ampharos or 1 Ampharos at the tournament in total.
Yeah. But yeah, the
He's
crest
competing
thing's
in LA
cool.
though, and he's been running Gudra, I think, a lot in GBL.
Who Butters?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know what? If you look at the
I kept
graphic, right,
telling
for
him
the
that I'm
APAC,
like, Gudra's not good in Show 6. It might be good.
Shinlane 3rd place with Gudra.
Wait, 3rd place at where?
In the APAC.
Yeah, but it's just not good.
Qualifiers.
Did Shinlana win? No.
In 5th place, but I think his 3rd
Look,
place was like 701.
I'm no hate on Shinlana, but Shinlana got 9th place out of a 27-person tournament at Perth. Okay, I'm not.
Okay, let me just refresh his matchups, yeah, because in this particular tournament,
Also, just because they had a Gudra doesn't mean they ran it, right? And they use it.
that's also true.
You
That's also
know,
true.
like what's it? El Che didn't even have a 6th Pokemon. He was able to make he was make top 4 in Worlds, right? Like it's not about if you have it on your team. I'm just saying I'm trying to help. I'm looking out for Butters, right? I'm saying, look, don't run it because you're gonna lose with it. Right? Like I'm trying to help you out. It's not good. It's not good. Trust me, it's not good. I looked into it. I've scrimmed with him myself, right? It's not good.
Was he losing, bringing it?
No, I don't know. You know, I wasn't scrimming with him. I'm just saying, no, he's been hitting the GBL leaderboards with it, which is fine.
Yeah.
I get in GBL, it could work in a vacuum, but there's a lot of things that work in GBL that don't work in Show 6. Shadow Vishabelle works like wonders in GBL.
Yeah.
Magical Leaf or not Magical Leaf. It's so good.
I mean, I haven't tried out the Gudra, but I still feel like it's decent, you know. Because again, I think it's another one of those mons, where it's like,
where's your Frauthorn at, right? Where's all right? Let's talk. Let's talk about all your spice picks that you've discussed in the past year and how many you actually brought to the tournament. Frauthorn, scratch that. Gallade out the window. You didn't even have Feraligatr, right? What was what did you bring? Because this is how our conversations go, right? Like I'll say something's bad, right? It's not relevant, and you're like, actually, like I was looking at this. It has some interesting wins if you look at the top meta.
You can't look
this
at
this Shadow Gallade is pretty good with shields, and like 100 energy advantage over the opponents, right?
You need to be a bit, fluid,
No, okay. Look, if there's a specific role in Pokemon Go commentary, I'm the color commentator. I'm telling you, right? I'm letting you know what's good in the meta, what's not, right? I didn't succeed this much in Pokemon Go.
I feel like you just as often say something's bad and then.
Okay, give me an example.
I can't remember.
You said just as often. I just named like 4.
And I forgot them all because I'm pretty sure I can't remember what they were. I wanted to know them off the top of my head, but I just
you just have to name.
I just
one.
know thinking being
you
like.
You just have to name one. Okay, maybe Clodsire.
I know.
But Clodsire honestly made more top cuts than a freaking Gallade and
Gudra. That wasn't even.
Clodsire's not even that bad.
I don't know.
Maybe it's not as good as I thought it was, but it's not
I'll prepare next week.
you prepare. You're gonna come back next week and still not know.
I'll come next week.
You're gonna hope next week I forget about it. I forget about this question. That's what you're gonna hope. Yeah. I tried a bunch of things. I tried Shadow Machamp too, and it was. I mean, it won me a local, but it's not good. Anyway, that about it wraps it up for us. But yeah, Niantic, if you're listening, please. Make the game more accessible.
Things.
Please make it more accessible before we lose more players. That's all I'm saying. These record-breaking numbers for VGT tournaments are making me jealous that we don't have record-breaking numbers.
Yeah, I actually saw there's this website that
TCG just sells out, so who knows what.
But you know what's very interesting. So there's this website that covers esports viewership. And they did a little thing on EUIC, right? And obviously TCG sells out. However, viewership was highest for VGC by like a huge amount compared to like all four of the games.
Yeah.
And they even had like some random ass like they were like streamers. I don't know if they played other games or not. I don't recognize the name in it. Yeah, but there was this one geezer who was like co-streaming. I don't think they play because again I don't recognize their name. And they had something like, again, I'm not going to throw the number out because I don't have it in front of me, but they had a mad amount of viewers. Yeah, a mad amount of viewers. And this is all, I'm assuming, people who don't actually play VGC watching him, because obviously majority of the people who are actually playing would watch the official stream.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think it's kind of mad what VGC are managing to do over the last like year or two, and I hope we can do the same thing. You know, I guess maybe part of it comes with it being more accessible, where people can do the same thing as VGC and be like, "Yo, I like that. Let me pick it up." You know.
Yeah. Like VGC
Yeah.
even has like they like partner with like big content creators to do like a content creator tournament. Like they had like
Do they?
what's like Sykkuno, Lil Pichu, I think like Pokemon even.
I don't think that was official
Participated.
VGC though.
It wasn't like official VGC, but it was
Oh
like
yeah,
VGC
yeah, but
content
that's just
creators
like
like
because of the content people.
Wolfie and
Yeah. So I think
Dude, you
also they've
imagine
got
if you like slid in Sykkuno's DMs, be like, "Hey, you wanna do a content creator Pokemon Go tournament?" Oh yeah, we'll sit download the game and we'll get back to you in 5 months when you build up a team. Yeah, like what?
Bruv, honestly, we could actually be doing proper content creator Pokemon Go boxing if they didn't have the whole you had to,
For
few
real,
months sort of thing in it.
for real.
We could actually like make that whole thing.
Yeah. Have you been training?
No. No. I've actually been really
shocked
bad.
to hear
Like,
that.
nah, because you know what? This is actually bad, isn't it?
All right,
Like,
what's the excuse this week?
now before, yeah, it was like, oh yeah, I was
Is
like,
your
it was
your
going on,
boxing
I was
the
fasting, all that
boxing
sort of stuff.
owner near you? Is he back in prison already or what?
Nah, I just haven't been training as much over the last few weeks, as in like over the last week. Really, I was ill the week before, but like last week I only trained like 3 times, I guess, which wasn't that great. This week I'm gonna try and train like 3 to 4 times, but I'm a bit disappointed because like I was wanting to train like at least every other day, and I've not been on point. So I don't know. I'm getting into it now. I'm not putting pressure on myself. I got some.
That's
time.
okay. I haven't been doing as much lately either. I haven't boxed in a while, but I'm going tonight, so get some reps in.
It's good. It's good.
But anyway, we'll see how it goes. So thank you all for joining in. Feel free to drop your comments down below, and we'll see how it goes. What's going on next week? Nothing. No tournaments, right?
Next week, Asian tournaments only. And
maybe try to get a guest on next week. We'll see.
Yeah. So in terms of anyone who wants to tune into the Asian tournaments, I'll put links on Dracoviz. Obviously, there's no video, but you can follow the bracket. The India bracket makes more sense to follow than the South Korea one because the South Korea one's just going to be Swiss. So you're just going to see like loads of names on the table, and it's just like it's a bit boring to watch unless you're like actually looking at a particular person's run. Whereas the India bracket's going to be a double elimination bracket, so that's a bit more.
Yeah,
you can follow that a bit better.
Yeah.
And also 4 qualifications for India, which is cool. So 16 players, 4 qualifications, 2 previous world qualifiers competing, and also Nava Empire. I've cherry picked him just because I think he's deserving of a world qualification. So yeah,
see who makes it. All right, well, thanks all for tuning in, and we'll catch you all next week. Peace out.